What's up, guys? What's up? Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to my live stream. So, hope you guys had a good week. I just got off of work, right? This is a hobby. This is a passion. Excuse me. So, I don't have a bunch of videos planned. So, I'm going to watch a debate that I wanted to watch, right? A debate that I wanted to watch. So I'm just chilling. I don't know if it's going to be a good debate. I don't know if there's going to be much to react to, but I want to watch it. So I figured let's watch it together, right? Let's chill. Let's have a a chill night. Let's watch something that I think it will be interesting. I think it will be fun. I do like to watch debates, because I do like, kind of logical or debate like arguments or back and forth. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. All right. So let's start it. Hope everyone had a good night or a good week. I am tired. I just got off of work. I just finished eating something. So, so excuse me, right? I just ate, so But let's get started. Let's check this out. Yo, big bars. I like to learn the techniques. You know what? That's the thing where I really like watching debates because I honestly believe it helps me, right? Helps me figure out how to have better conversation skills, right? How to be more logical in my my views, right? My takes. So I do like debates for that stuff. I really do like debates because it's a good way to operate in a more logical sense. So that is my point. So let's check this out. Let's hope it's good.
Women, do women have too high of expectations for men, and are they hoes?
If they are, who cares? I would say no. I would say I enjoy being a member of society. I like being able to vote. I like being able to have a bank account. And it's so crazy that I'm also a mother at the same time with a husband who loves me and is able to handle the fact that I'm my own person.
Well, I think Kat makes actually a good point, though, Myron. Like, is it that bad if a girl has a job and a college education? Like, a driven woman, let's say she's driven to do more than just be a mom. Like, why is that demonized, I guess, in your opinion?
Well, look, I don't have a problem with women, aspiring to go to school and everything else like that. My thing is, I think we just need to be honest with them. If you're going to go ahead and pursue a career and higher education, your chances of finding a man are going to drop off precipitously because your standards go up as you increase your income, your status. Because women are hypergamous. They're not like us. When we get status and money, our standards stay fairly the same, or we just want a hotter girl. But when women increase their status, they want a guy on their level financially, mentally, etc. So we just need to be honest with women is the more successful you become, the likelihood of you finding a guy drop off.
There's a really
That
funny...
was not the case for me. I'm actually more successful than you are, Myron.
Oh, wow. Shots fired. Well, to be fair,
and I have a baby. Do you have a baby?
You know what's funny to me? I looked around, I didn't see a stove, so I don't know why this woman's here and not talking.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were...
I don't...
This is a problem where we have women that want to compete with men. I'm more successful than you. Great for you. So what? It's like, what do you think this is? What do you think this is? A dick measuring contest? It's like I like sometimes I find women like this is why a lot of times I find women or anyone, right? If you are going to be emotional, right? You start insulting, you start using insults to prove whatever. That's where That's where your logic becomes illogical, in my opinion. This is why, in my personal opinion, when I talk about things, I try my best not to insult nobody. Because honestly, it comes off as, you know what? Me not having a logical argument, not having a logical take. So I'm just going to insult the person just to, I don't know, win. And I think that's idiotic. I really do. I think that's absolutely idiotic.
I don't make
I
dinner.
don't-
I make money.
This is not a kitchen. This is not a kitchen somehow. Some woman is talking. I don't know. This isn't a kitchen, but she's talking. Incredible.
I got an important point for you, Myron.
Yeah.
All that matters in the end is in 20, 30 years, she's already got a genetic leg up with having a kid. If you don't have a kid, your line ends. Where's your kid at?
Oh, well, I'll have one eventually. I'm just going to try. I'm trying to pick out my 4 wives first. You know what I mean? So I'm picking them
There's
out.
another woman here, though. You know, I don't know, Kat. Do you consider yourself conservative or liberal or?
I mean, I consider
Her husband ain't no man. That is, I'll say this. A lot of, I find this a problem with a lot of women where, or this is kind of why I've said this countless times before, where dating is easy for women. I've like, it don't matter if you're fat, if you're skinny, if you have 8 kids, 0 kids, if you're old, if you're young, if you are, you know, an annoying bitch, or if you are a very pleasant woman. Women of all categories will always have options. This is why I find it funny. I find it stupid when you see, let's say, below average women saying, "Oh my God, dating is so hard. I can't find a man. I can't find a man." No, you could. It's the only issue is that the men that you could find, you are not attracted to. And that is why I've said this countless times before, where we have an epidemic of egotistical women, average to below average women, thinking that they're so much better. So they think they're so much better. So they think they are better than men or that are on their same level. And this is why women like this can't find a man. No, she can't find a man she wants. Women can find plenty of men, just not the men that they want.
myself my own person. I'm independent.
All right. Well, the self-avowed liberal. What say you?
What say I? I say, the 2 questions, are women's standards increasing? Yeah, I would say by and large, women's standards are increasing as they get access to work and education. The issue is that they're not really staying single. Most of the Pew research shows that women are dating and dating successfully. The real question that I think is actually at the heart of all of this is are people happy? Are people finding meaningful relationships? And in what ways is society hampering and harming them or benefiting them? I think those are the important questions.
Yeah, don't you- I feel
They're
like
not having
lonely-
relationships.
Yeah,
It's
isn't loneliness
fucked.
up? Isn't loneliness up, Tim? And
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think
dating
it's
is
up.
down, loneliness is up. There was that graph that went viral that people are basically becoming neats, men and women. They're less conscientious. They're more neurotic. They're less agreeable. They're isolating themselves. I don't know if that's a product of feminism, but what I can say is right now the current system is not conducive to happy relationships between either men and women.
I actually agree. I think that the way that our society has oriented itself, where it's obsession over money and working and the betrayal of family and connection relationship is harming everyone. I don't think that this is a unique woman problem or man problem. When we're talking about the loneliness epidemic, it's mostly a male skewed issue, right? Men. In the Pew research, men between the ages of 18 to 25, 61% of them, I think, hadn't even dated before, whereas I think it was only 30% of young women.
Doesn't that prove Myron's point?
Sort of. I mean,
These women are dating, but the men are not. That means the women are dating all the same guys.
well, no, they're not.
No, yeah, they're dating older men. Yeah, this is the thing. It's women are dating older men, or maybe some are sharing men. Probably unknowingly, or some probably knowingly. They are sharing men. But I think, majority of them are dating older men. And that is funny. That's funny where and I don't know about you, but I've seen so many videos of women blasting men for being in age gap relationships. I'm sorry. Majority or a lot of women are choosing to date older.
Most of these women are in monogamous relationships, right? The issue is
Well,
actually
so-
the
so-
20-year-olds are dating like men that are typically like 4 to 5 years older than them. That's actually more so what we're seeing.
So let's just break it down for me, my misunderstanding then, because it sounds like I might be misunderstanding. What was the number most women have found relationships?
30% of women have dated between the ages of 18 and 25, whereas
And then-
61% of men have not dated.
Yo, what's up? What's up, my brother? What's up, Bay? Miles, what's up? Yeah, the data shows they're basically dating the same guys who are mostly older. Yeah. I think a lot of women are sharing men, but I think majority of them are just dating older men. And that is the funny part. Out of both genders, who complains about dating older? Who complains about age gap relationships? Women. And guess why? I think women are complaining about age gap relationships because older women are now, or more than ever, competing with younger women. They always had to, but more than ever before, older women are competing against younger women.
Right, okay, so that's the same number, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm not understanding.
That
what you're
means
saying.
30% of men have dated and 30% of women have dated.
No, 61% of men between the ages of 18 to 25 have not had a relationship.
So that means 30
Right.
of them have dated then.
So that means 30% of men have had a relationship.
Sorry, did I mess up? Did I misspeak?
You're saying both. 30% of women
Have not dated.
Have not dated.
Okay, have not dated.
60%
Sorry,
have
yeah.
not
Okay,
dated.
so
Yeah,
that,
we get it. Sorry.
so if it's 2-to-1 men not dating but women are dating, then the women would have to be dating.
Well,
the
between
same
that
guys.
age, well, no,
Right.
that's the age bracket. 18 to 25 is one of the key things.
Right,
here
right,
that's
okay,
going
so-
on.
but the
So
point
women
is-
are dating older men.
Oh, I see.
That's what's making up the
Yes.
gap.
I think Myron agrees with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, average women don't want average men. They date up. And now with, the way we have society, hypergamy is not only reinforced, but it's encouraged. Women are told to not settle. They're told to get the best man that they can get. So a lot of girls think that they qualify for something a lot of times, which they actually don't. And sometimes I have to be the reality and let them know, like, look, you're average. You got to be, a little bit more realistic about where you stand.
This isn't really
but average
hypergamy,
women
though.
don't want average men.
This isn't really hypergamy, though, right? Like, what are men typically selecting for in a relationship? Youthfulness, beauty, right? Some level of like making him feel good. What are women selecting for? Stability factors. And so in this way, women are dating the pool of men that give them the stability factors because it usually takes men a couple of years to get education and a career and like something built underneath them.
That's hypergamy. You're dating up, right? You're dating up. You're not dating men of your equal level. These women are not stable women themselves or financially well-off women. No, you're dating up. You're finding men that are either your equal level, but a lot of times above. So that is hypergamy.
And men are selecting for the things that they
Well,
want.
it's
which
not
is
just
young
stability
and
anymore,
beauty.
is what I'm trying to say. It's not just stability.
do you
It's
mean?
also, is the guy handsome? Is he tall? Is he charming? Is he charismatic? Like, since women make their own money, they're able to be a bit more selective because they don't just need the provisioning anymore. They want other things as well. Is he handsome? How does he look? Etc. So women do have a staked interest now in how a man looks and how he conveys himself as well, since they handle the provisioning part themselves. So it's made women more selective, but that's kind of come at their dismay because now it's harder to find that guy. There's the total package with everything.
Sure. The issue is that like the actual problem here is that we're leaving men behind. The issue isn't that we're like raising women up. It's that men are disproportionately being like under.
Now, I don't know about you. I've seen a few videos of this woman. Okay, I will say I've said this before. I don't hate women. Right? I don't go on and hate women. So I find this woman. Yo, Eddie, what's up, my brother? What's up? Yes. By 2030, more women than ever will be single and childless. Wine and cats will be going up. I find this woman at least the most logical or the most willing to listen out of all the women I've listened to, right? Or I've watched.
Educated in school. Primary school is horrible for young boys. We're not giving them social scripts on how to exist. And we're still telling young men that their only value is the amount that they can contribute to the GDP. When in the reality is that like what women are looking for is men that like make them feel valuable and that they can emotionally connect to. And so like the real issue here isn't that we're raising women up. It's that we're leaving men behind, which I'm actually very interested in.
Well, I want to make this one point though. I think men are a victim of what their surroundings, because well, the amount of men that have microplastics in their testicles now. Seriously, now the amount of estrogen.
You're
in
getting some right now.
Exactly. So I'm saying, don't we think
no.
men now have higher estrogen levels than ever in recorded history?
Yeah.
So I feel like that is kind of why the men are, I guess, coming in second place if we talk about.
Well, there's
It's a
multitude
problem
of
for
problems.
everyone. I'm only 36 and I've already had cancer.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's a serious thing.
Yeah.
I know it's serious.
Yeah,
Some
there's
environmental
problems.
shit going on.
And who's in good shape, Kat? Like, you've never been fat or gross?
No,
I'm
not
saying
to
you
brag, but I've never been fat. Yeah.
I mean, but that does have, like they say, the fatter you are, the more likely you are to get cancer. So I'm just saying there's a lot of toxins in our water, in our food, that are making men, less masculine and less aggressive.
I want to. Maybe I'm just jumping the gun, but I was just thinking about if we want to go into dating stuff. I think maybe we'll come back to it. But and the question of feminism, the one thing that I really pisses me off, women.
Wow. I wonder if is that true? Eddie said, we each consume 1 credit card of plastic a week. Really? That's quite crazy. I mean, if that's true or not, that's pretty crazy. But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised that, because I was thinking about this too. We look at it, human beings seem to be more susceptible to cancer and all these diseases and all these problems more than ever before. So I think there is a big problem right now.
Women won the right to vote without civic responsibility, and so
They shouldn't have the right to vote.
You can make the argument.
Repeal the
I think it's fine. I think it's fine to say women should have the right to vote. However, we got to look at the context of the United States, and that's women do not have an obligation to die in war that men do, but women can vote overwhelmingly for Democrats promoting these wars, and then men are left on the hook for a war they tend not to vote for. That's fucked up.
So, sure. The
I'm
issue
glad
is,
we're on this topic. Repeal the 19th. I was going to say that earlier when she was yapping, but that's fine. Yeah, repeal the 19th.
I think only landowners should vote. Let's go back to pre-Civil War. Try to vote now, Myron.
Yeah, women shouldn't be able to vote.
I think we have two issues here, right? Number one, the vote has never actually been tied to military service. It's typically citizenship and age are usually kind of the two main things that we've always used for voting. I would be totally fine with us having an amendment where we add women to selective service. I have no issue with that whatsoever, right? And I think equal strokes. The issue is that when it comes to voting, there are going to be topics that uniquely affect men and uniquely affect women. In this case, war does uniquely affect men right now, which might be unfair. But in the case of something like abortion and birthright control and all these sort of things, these disproportionately affect women, right? And so when we're talking about like who gets the right to vote, is it because of like certain topics uniquely affect one gender over another? That's not how we've ever tied the right to vote. It could be landowners, it could be multiple things. In America, though, we seem to mostly decide age and citizenship.
But the problem I have is that Democrats have been substantially more likely to vote for war, to promote war, particularly Ukraine. Republicans have been pressuring Trump not to be involved. His base split over the Iran issue. Millennial women are about 70%.
I agree. This is a thing where abortion does affect men. I find it that we think that men are so emotionless. That's their child. That is their child, okay? And it seems like only women nowadays have the final say on if this man gets a child or not, or this man can keep his child or not. I don't know.
Democrat. So you have this phenomenon in the millennial to Gen Z younger generation where women are disproportionately voting for a war they have no responsibility in, or I should say a limited responsibility in. And it's crazy to me that half the population can vote and the other half to die, and that's equality.
So I'm a millennial woman, and I am married to a veteran, and both of us are very anti-war. He is anti-war as somebody who went over there. I think that to pin the power of the military-industrial complex, which is a very powerful force, on women being able to vote is wild. But I also understand
that's a mischaracterization of what I said.
I think I was talking more about what Myron said than what you said. I understand also that this is like Myron's whole thing. But
no, she's married to a veteran. She's married to a veteran. That's what she said. She said her husband is a veteran.
You have to say like women can't vote, and then you get attention, and you also kind of act like you invented misogyny, which you didn't. Like it's been around for a very long time. These are not hot takes. These are like very old, archaic.
But he is in the top 10, right?
because he goes really hard and he gets a lot of attention for it. And then there are these men, sadly, who listen to you, who I think are lonely. And I love men. I'm not like a man-hating woman. I love men. And I think that a lot of men have been left behind in a lot of ways, and I understand that. But I don't think that blaming all of your problems, if you do blame all your problems on women, then that could be the reason why you don't have one.
There's another group of people that Myron blames his problems on, and it's not women.
Well, I want to let Myron respond, but I guess I want to pose this question. What is the bigger threat, feminism or misogyny? What's worse for society?
So when I say feminism, I feel like things like I have the right to vote. I have a job. I'm a participating member of society, which is different than hating men. So it kind of depends how you
Well, do you hate women, Myron? I'm not just more curious.
Sometimes. Actually, most of it. No, I'm just kidding. Look, the reality is that when it comes to feminism, etc., women are stupid. Let's be honest about this. And the reason why, right? It's not just, and she said it herself, misogyny isn't something new. She's right. In ancient China, to the Middle East, to Eastern Europe, everybody knew that women are so we need to make them second-class citizens. So that's why they don't have the right to vote and do a lot of stuff. And then now
what an eloquent argument. I never could have come up with something that intelligent.
She's like a woman right now. Holy
woman.
crap. I let her speak and now she won't let me speak. So it's interesting to me how she said, oh yeah, this isn't something new. Yeah, you're right. Everyone since ancient times knew that women are we need to make them second-class citizens. Well, and here's the craziest part. They lived in other ends of the world and they still realize the Asian dudes, ling bing ding, all the way to the fucking Mohammeds in the Middle East, to the Eastern Europeans of Slav, they all knew, damn, women are stupid. We need to go ahead and put them in the kitchen. Now they're out the kitchen, and what's going on? Society is crumbling.
Which civilization of all the ones that you listed do you like the most? Do you like modern America, or do you like Saudi Arabia, or do you like, ancient Japan? Which one do you like the most?
Well, look, I like any society that has women under control, and right now we don't, which is why shit is fucked up.
So why don't you move to Saudi Arabia? They don't have the right to vote. They can barely drive. Like, what?
It's a great place.
Do you want Sharia law?
No, that's
Myron.
true. They can drive now. They can drive.
They can drive, and that's bad.
Wait, are you? But be honest.
So you think that Saudi Arabia is a better country than America?
When it comes to handling women, yes. Yes, when it comes to handling
just overall,
women, yes.
don't change the question.
And
Don't run away
crime
from
is
it.
less in Saudi
Do you
Arabia,
think?
though.
Well, they have less crime.
You were talking about these global things about how when women are oppressed, that's been the societal trend. And so I asked you, modern America decided, along with a whole bunch of Western democracies, and I think you like Western civilization, that that's a bad idea. And so the question is, why is America so?
This is a thing where I'm not. I mean, again, I've seen a lot of Myron's takes, and I've said this to everyone. Please don't agree with with any one particular. Don't agree with me. Don't agree with anyone you watch. 100%, because be yourself. Don't be a sheep. Okay, process information and make your own judgment. In my opinion, I think it's ridiculous to think, oh, we should take away women's rights. Stop it. That it is in my opinion, a useless argument, a useless point of view, because you can't. It's not gonna. We are not going backwards. We are not going to go backwards. I mean, who knows, right? Maybe that 1% we somehow elect a dictator, which I don't think we can, right? I don't really think we can. There is no scenario that I can imagine where we take away rights of anybody, or we take away a big right, right? I can't imagine a world where America takes away the voting rights of women. So, honestly, in my opinion, it's a useless take to have. I would never say, oh, let's take away women's rights, because honestly, I would never think we would ever do that. So for me, I don't view that as a logical take or a point of view even worth having. What I will say is that we need to change how we vote. I do think we need to change how we vote, because we have too many stupid people voting. We have too many stupid people voting. We have too many people who are so intertwined with politics when honestly they're just too emotional. They're too illogical to make good decisions for our country. So, but however that may turn out, I don't know. So for me, politics is not that big of a deal. So I don't know.
Great if Saudi Arabia's got this one thing so well to, like, what shouldn't that be the great
well,
country?
you could be better in different ways, right? Like
so Muslim theocracy's got it.
No, I didn't say that. Oh. What I'm saying is, here's the problem, right? When you have when you have women having too much power, it creates a lot of issues because women are communitarian by nature, right? They don't know what the fuck they want to do. They can't even decide what they want to eat, let alone pick their own partners. That's why the divorce rates are through the fucking
Wait,
roof.
time out.
That's
You
why
guys
marriage
admit
is
it's
down
hard
at the
for women to
dumpster.
choose what to eat, though, Kat. Is that true? Can we at least
know?
agree on
Well,
that?
yes, but it also could be all this nicotine gum I'm always chewing.
Okay,
Like, never that hungry.
that is typically my girlfriend. It is hard for women to choose where to eat. I think you're 100% right about that.
Sure, but we also are like negating the fact that like some of the biggest breakthroughs in ecology science come from the humanitarian approach that women have. You know, DNA was discovered by women. So like the issue is that women are decently valuable. When we talk about women being stupid, men are stupid all the time too. Men are the like morons that are ending up in fucking jail all the time because they can't like stop
Wait,
punching shit.
you made a good point. I think.
Wait. Is Friedrich Miescher a woman? DNA was first identified by Swiss chemist Friedrich Miescher.
Yeah, they were trying to take credit
stole
for our
it
stuff.
from?
They also said they were trying to say
Wow.
Wi-Fi was made by women. No, it wasn't. It was made by men as well. Women don't invent anything. They don't contribute to anything besides like.
I would say I think that's wrong. I mean, women. Wait, so, you know, this is a thing where to go to the level of having to like, oh, I need to discredit all women. It is ridiculous, right? There is you belittle your own views when you have to discredit everyone. There are women that have invented shit. Okay, there are women that have invented shit. There are minorities that have invented shit. Cool. I would say they haven't done the minority of inventing. Okay, so yes, majority of men have been more intelligent throughout history or bigger inventors throughout history than women. So that's the thing where I try not to like base my point of views on, oh, I hate women, or because honestly you're no different than the women that hate men, and that shows you how illogical those women are. And he says no, the initial discovery of DNA wasn't by a woman but British scientists. I mean, you can find, like, seriously, I mean, Google shit, right? You can find it out.
To be honest, the only real value women have is reproductive
I contribute
value.
more to
We're
the
gonna be honest.
economy than you do, Myron, just objectively.
Wait, I want to say I'm on Kat and not Sarah's side though. That don't you think women are equally valuable to society though? You don't think so?
Dude, if you remove sex and reproduction, they provide almost nothing.
Yeah, but those are
We're gonna
we
be
wouldn't
honest.
have life without those things.
Yeah,
so
sure.
so don't
Sure. But I want to be clear about this.
Field?
We don't need them. Like, here's the thing: women need us. We don't need them. We need them to propagate
They have our
society for the
babies,
next
dude.
generation. That's why my point. I said outside of reproduction. So, like, if we want to have kids, yes, we need them, but they need us for everything. So the reality is, men bring far more value to society than women do. The only real value they provide is reproductive value. Because let's be honest here, you guys don't give a fuck about what they got to say. You guys are here for us. Nobody cares about what women got to say. They're the suckiest podcasters. Female YouTubers suck. Nobody gives a fuck about their opinion. We're just there for the tits.
Isn't
Let's
like
be
the
honest.
one of some of the largest podcasts? All Candace Owens, Call Her Daddy. Like some of the largest podcasts are
And
female run.
to be fair,
Candace Owens is an
wait.
exception.
It doesn't matter if you don't like them. The point is that they're highly successful. So maybe you guys don't like to listen to women, but that doesn't mean that broader society doesn't. For example, take women out of the workforce.
Oh, and first of all, Candace Owens one thing. Call Her Daddy. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? One, Call Her Daddy, I believe is majority men viewers, but do you know why? I mean, I've never watched it. I mean, Glancery View, they talk about sex. Honestly, women that talk about sex, women that are overly sexualized, yes, we got a lot of simps out there. We got a lot of simps. We got a lot of men that are overly controlled by their lust. I can tell you this. I don't do that. I don't subscribe to, I don't follow, I don't watch women just because, oh, she's hot. Oh, I would love to fuck her. Oh my God. I want these women. No, I try. I'm no one perfect, right? I've plenty throughout my history. I have been controlled by lust, but I'm making an active choice not to let that control me. So no, I don't follow women or I don't listen to women because, oh, she's fucking hot. They're talking about sex. I want to listen. No, but there are plenty of men, which are the primary audience of a lot of these women's, the Call Her Daddy thing. That's why. Not because she's some kind of amazing podcaster. No. Beautiful women talking about sex, the most like low hanging fruit around.
You've nuked your economy overnight. It's done. They contribute, even if we're being mild and conservative, 30%,
Well, that'd be
probably
good.
around 50%.
That'd be good for the airline pilot industry, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that save us a lot?
I don't know. It seems like there's a lot more going on with the airline pilot industry than just women.
But women are usually taking social jobs like teachers and nurses and stuff like
Yeah,
this.
we need those jobs.
We do, but we need oil petroleum engineers more.
I would disagree. We need to raise our children. I would like
Abolish
literate
public
children.
schools.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Public schools are shit.
But we should still be teaching our kids. We want our kids to be literate.
I agree. And I think
we need
women are
nurses,
great teachers.
right? Like every one of you has been to a hospital, and you're probably super grateful that there's an entire health industry oriented at making sure that your ass doesn't die. Especially a lot of your fat asses don't die.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can feel the tension. I like
I was just gonna say.
Guys, real quick, though, I do want to say thank you guys for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause, seriously. And this is our third time doing it here. And I have to say that last week was a little tense with Michael Malice, but you can feel the tension up here. I kind of like this debate, and we want to encourage you guys to all come up, whatever you guys, whether you have a question or a debate topic. Everybody, shut the fuck up.
Is femininity then related to like nurturing?
Yeah.
Having babies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Hot take. I think women actually lack empathy. Contrary to them saying that they have empathy, I think women have.
I think so too. Hot take. I think women lack empathy. Because here's the thing. How can you be so selective? Okay. So let's say this. Empathy. It's just, empathy is just, let's do a clear definition, right? Let's do a clear definition. I want the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. No gender involved, right? The ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Women always are empathetic when it comes to women, other women. If something happens to another woman, if women say anything, okay, about, let's say, oh, a man abused me. A man abused me. Poor queen, you poor thing. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I can't, he doesn't deserve you. All this shit, okay? Women will be so sympathetic and empathetic to her. But when it's a man saying that women have done this to him, women have abused him, or women rejects him, women done terrible things to him, women would not give a shit. Women would not give a shit. So, is it empathetic, or it's I don't know. I don't know another phrase or word where it's more selective, right? Selective empathy, where if something's happened to a woman, you feel empathetic to. If something happens to a man, you could give a shit. So really, is that real empathy? Is that real empathy? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So. Women are wonderful effect. Women are wonderful effect. Yes.
Empathy, they can feel sorry and compassion for sure. But when it comes to empathy, especially to the masculine experience, they don't have it at all. I would argue most women don't know what men want. They don't know what men are interested in. They don't know what it takes to keep a man around, which is why most girls can't even stay in a relationship long term or get married. And let's be honest here, the reason why they're not empathetic is because there's no need to be empathetic because men approach them. Since men approach them and they do the courting and they have to do everything up front, especially at the beginning, a lot of women aren't empathetic to the masculine experience because they don't have to be. Versus men, we have to be empathetic to women, otherwise we don't get laid.
Yeah, you're
There's
very empathetic to women.
No, well, here's the thing. I understand you guys, which is why I don't respect you. So that's why, because the reality is if you understand women, there's no way you can respect them as an equal because they're inferior in almost every way.
Well, in what
what does
ways?
that mean in
I just
Yeah,
don't
in what ways?
understand why you would say that.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, here's the thing. You can either respect them as an equal, right? Or you don't respect. Like, my thing is, I understand women. So since, therefore, I understand women, I cannot respect you guys as equals because you guys have a completely different worldview. You guys are inferior in almost everything that matters.
Like in what? Like what? Name the
you
things.
You
keep
guys
saying
are
that
weaker,
over, I'm
dumber,
stupid,
smaller,
blah, blah, blah,
like,
I'm bored.
Weaker,
like-
dumber,
Yeah, literally, like.
less fit, less strong.
well,
but
yeah,
by these
you guys are
standards,
inferior.
your co-host is inferior to you in every way because he's weaker. He doesn't
he's still
exercise as
superior
much.
to you.
He's
So
not as strong.
that's my point.
That's not what the issue is. What the
He's
issue
still
is.
superior to you, though.
What the issue is on the thing. Well, actually, not really. I think I'm actually fitter than Fresh. He's stronger than me, but I think I'm literally fitter than him. And also, when it comes to debates, I tend to do better than him in debates. All the things that you tend to value are the things that he's inferior. The issue is. Hold on, just so it's clear.
Can you open
I
up the
don't
book,
think. I don't think that Fresh is inferior.
That's the thing, right? I don't view women like this thing where the inferiority thing where women are less than. I don't subscribe to that. I don't like to view women as a whole are lesser than men as a whole. I don't really like that. I don't subscribe to that theory. Now, what he said that how you could either respect women, right? Or what was it? What did he say? I forgot what. Let's go back.
What's masculinity? The things that
Hot take.
a lot of your fat asses don't die.
femininity.
So since therefore I understand women, I cannot respect you guys as equals because you guys have a completely different worldview.
Okay. So he said, because I understand them, I can't respect them as equals. I will say this. This is the problem where to understand women, again, a lot of women, if you understand women, a lot of women don't want equality. Okay. So that's why you can't treat women like equals. You can't. I believe in actual society, we can't treat women like equals because women don't want equality. Women want superiority. Women always want to be treated special. Women always wanted to be treated different, but better. Not just different, less than. Treated different, better. So women never had an issue, okay, with, oh, I wanted to be treated like a man. No. I wanted to be treated better than a man. So how can you respect anybody, right, that wants to be treated better than you? Because here's the thing. I honestly believe in 2025, men view women as equals, or society at large view women as equals or treat women as equal. And yet, feminism is still around. Because of what? Abortion rights? Seriously, that's not worth feminism. So, in my opinion, it's women still fight for shit, not because they want equality. It goes back to women want superiority. Women want power. And that's the thing. So you can't respect someone that wants power over you, that wants to be more powerful than you. No, I don't respect people like that.
You guys are inferior in almost everything that matters.
Like in what? Like what? Name the
you
things.
keep
you guys
saying
are
that,
weaker,
I'm
dumber,
stupid. And then people hear you talk and you're saying that, women should all be owned by men and all these other things that you say. And people might think differently because you're going to be a lot different new audience is going to see you thanks to me being on this panel. You're welcome, by the way.
Who are
Is
you
that what
again?
you-
I don't
is
even
that
know who is this female.
I don't even know. She's the co-host of the highest rated TV
Yeah.
show.
Really? Okay. Well, no one watches
Top-rated late night
mainstream
show.
media anymore anyway, so that's fine.
What do you actually think women should be owned, Myron? She said you believe.
I mean, it's kind of funny. She's over here all this blah blah, but she's married, which is a male-led institution, which is interesting to me. So it's like she's buying into it, even though she's trying to sit here and be like, I'm kind of like I'm a feminist, but at the same time I'm married. Blah blah blah. It's like pick one, man. You serve under a man, so it's like I don't even know why she's talking. So
I serve under a man.
yeah, you're married to a guy, which marriage in itself is a male-led institution.
See, not my marriage.
Oh,
yeah, we're
God.
equal.
So you wear the
partners.
pants in your-
We're equal partners in my marriage. I know that's crazy. That, but
The concept of equality is a lie. It's not true. One is always the leader. Who's the leader in your relationship? Who's the decision maker? You or him?
Depends on the thing.
This doesn't
Who
make,
is
this doesn't make one
who's the
person more or
main
less
leader in the
morally
relationship?
valuable.
You or him?
It depends on the thing. We are equal partners. We've been through a shit ton together.
crap.
A lot of stuff together, especially recently. And I love him very much. He loves me very much. And I would never have a child with somebody who didn't see me as a person. I see a lot of posts on the internet about like the fertility problem and why aren't women having kids? And you look at the comments and you see why maybe women don't want to have kids with, it ain't the women that are the problem a lot of the times. There's a lot of
That's stupid. This is the problem, right? This is the problem I find, right? Why I would say I don't say women are stupid. I've never said women are stupid. I'll say well, maybe I have, right? Not purposely, right? I don't say women are stupid. I say a lot of women's takes are stupid. You have to think before feminism. Now, men didn't create the world at large, okay? Because men aren't controllers, right? People like to say, "Oh, men created the world that men benefit from." No, the world was created on the backs of men, but it was created with the power of a select few men. So that's the one thing. But I would say this: the world before feminism, largely that was the world that men made. The world after feminism, how the world is today, however it is, whether you like it, you love it, whatever, that is the result of women, not men. That is the result of women, women's actions, women's words. So, if we are suffering from a low birth rate, that is the fucking result of women, not men. Because the world was, you know what? Before feminism, you can put the blame 100% on men. because women didn't have rights. Women didn't have control or whatever. So it would be logical for you to put 100% of the blame on men. Because what can you say? Women didn't have necessarily a say, or women didn't have the kind of power that they do now. But guess what? After feminism, women, in my honest opinion, have the most power in this world. Particularly socially, right? Women have the most social power. So you can't blame men for the majority of our issues. You would have to blame women.
Problems with talking about women, why do women want to have kids, and not enough talk about why men aren't becoming, in some cases, the kind of partners that women would want to have a child with. I did not meet someone I'd want to have a child with until I met my husband when I was 30
Still
years
trying to
old.
figure out who the leader is here.
But
nothing gets done by committee.
Nothing
gets done by committee.
I
I want to bring it back to feminism because I
Wanna
think,
answer the question?
I think feminism is a key component in relationship breakdown. There was a story several years ago where in New York, women in their 30s could not find men who made as much or more than they did. And it was like a shock to the system. All these writers, these are female writers for various opinion outlets saying, why can't we find good men? And it's, because they weren't attracted to guys who made less, and they didn't want to be with younger guys. So the guys who were the same age as them, who made $50,000 a year, were like, I can date a 24-year-old woman, somebody who wants to have a family and is younger. So guys are aiming for younger women, but women are being told to get jobs and have careers. But you mentioned guys aren't stepping up. I think this creates an inverse problem where for young men, they're either struggling to date because younger women can date older guys through dating apps, or women, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? If you know what I mean.
Like you can have sex without like.
These guys who are young are like, I don't need a job, I don't need status, because if I go to the club and spend $15 on booze, I get laid.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just think that like this is like the trade-off of agency, right? Like agency is one of the most important things that we can have, the ability to choose, right? Because if you don't have agency, you can't choose to do noble and good things. You can't choose to do bad things. And so I would agree that like when I look at the modern dating culture, first of all, the 24-year-old girls are not like, I'm so ready to settle down and have kids.
Right.
They're like, these are the people you're calling whores half the time, right? And so
They used to be. People used to get married and have kids at 22.
Sure, but we also died at 55 around the same time.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
That is not correct.
Yeah.
We did have a lower life
That is
We
that is
had
not
that
correct.
much shorter life
The shorter life
expectancy.
expectancy was due to the infant mortality rate. People actually who survived infancy would live for a very long time. But
no.
while people are lived expectancy,
Men were
the
dying
life
in mines.
They're not at 55.
No, men were dying in mines, and women were also
sure,
dying in childbirth.
and while life expectancy has increased by a few years recently,
lot.
that isn't changing the fact that society used to be very different. Women in pre-feminism were focused on families, and the big social deal was who are you going steady with and who are you having a family with. I'm not saying society should be that way, but when that's gone and women start prioritizing what job am I going to have,
Yeah.
you're not going to have families at 22 like we used to anymore. And now we're in a fertility crisis, and we've got no young people. Gen Alpha is only 40 million people. It's half the size of the millennials.
Sure. So to this, I would basically say I agree that there has been a lot of cons that have come with giving women agency. I think giving women agency is actually like a deontological good. Letting people choose means that they have the choice to choose the noble things. This is really, really important in Western society.
This is the thing where I'll be different, where I'm fine. I perfectly support giving women the power of choice. Because why? Because in my opinion, giving people the power of choice means accountability. That is why I said, after feminism, you can't blame men anymore. You could blame, before feminism, you can blame men because women didn't have the power of choice. So what are women taking accountability for? Nothing. They didn't have the power of choice. So why I see things differently, and you know what? I'm a big supporter of it. I'm a big supporter of equality. I'm a big supporter of equality. Great. Women have choice? Awesome. But guess what comes with that power? Accountability. So this is why I've said plenty of times where I have zero sympathy for women when it comes to dating. You have the power of choice. So at the end of the day, no one is forcing you to do the things you are doing, do the things that are happening in your life. No one. So however your life turns out, that is 100% your fucking fault. However dating is, shitty or not, that is women's 100% fault, not men, right? Oh my God, there's not enough good men out there that's leveling up. No, there are plenty. The problem is, are you attracted to the ones that are? Are the ones that are you attracted? I mean, do they find you attractive? That's the thing. Women think that, there's not enough men that are wealthy. Men make more than women. Men make more than women. There are not enough men that are educated. There are plenty of men that are educated. Plenty. One, are you attracted to those men? Two, are those men attracted to you? Plain and simple.
Specifically, this is the foundation of what we believe in the American project. And so, yes, women back then didn't have as many choices. They couldn't own private property. They basically had to be married to a man to have any access or rights or
They
power.
couldn't have a credit card till the 80s.
Exactly, right? So women had
Better times. Less debt.
women had less agency. Women had less agency. But I would argue that that was a moral failing of society. And just because the outcomes right now might be worse, that doesn't necessarily mean that this is not something that we fundamentally value. We value in America giving people choice.
I hear that. I remember, last week we had this big debate on police, and I think the shortcomings for Michael Malice, I respect the guy, he's a good friend, but he kept saying police were bad. And it sounded like all he was saying was, yes, there are big problems with police and there's no alternative, or the system will always be bad in some way, but there is a worse. So I look at this now and I'm like, okay, I agree to a certain degree on the deontological aspect of people should have free choice. You want to have a job, you can do it. You want to have finances, all that's fine. Is the end result then the Gen Alpha is 40 million and collapsing, and there won't be any humans in the future, or cities are going to start shrinking, infrastructure is going to start crumbling, and we're going to go, it was a moral good to make sure that we had this semblance of equality under the law, and then society was destroyed by it.
Well, equity of agency does mean bad outcomes sometimes. The issue is that I'm not opposed to people strongly.
Which proves that when women have agency, things go bad.
No,
Because
actually, when most
like-
people have agency, people make terrible choices, right? When we give young men free agency, what's the window where young men do the most crime? It's typically the ages where they get the most amount of agency. People, when they are given choice, often choose poorly, but that's not the reason we don't give them choice. Because if we don't give them choice, they are enslaved to correct action because of necessity, and that's not the world that we want to live in. We want people to choose the noble thing because they are choosing to do so.
Now here's the thing.
wait,
I see your perspective with agency. I see that, but we need to be honest with women. The problem is that we're not honest with women, right? We don't tell them, look, if you want to pursue a career, you want to make money, your chances of finding a guy down the road are going to be significantly harder. We don't tell them if you decide to be promiscuous now, it's going to cost you.
Now that right there, what Myron is saying, I agree with. Now I disagree with, we should take away women's rights. No, that's fucking stupid in my opinion. But we are fooling women. We are lying to women. This is the problem I find. Being a content creator, because you have to absorb so much content. You have to absorb, because I react, right? I do reaction videos. So I got to have videos to react to. And this is a problem. I can see the delusions, the hypocrisies, right? The insanities of women. And other women validate it, promote it. And let me say this, society in general validates it and promotes it. So the problem is that it's not that women have freedom. No, it's that we delude women while giving them freedom. We tell women lies, or we negate information to women while giving them freedom. So I find that giving them freedom of choice, and that is the danger. We're not. I've heard this so many times. Oh, go in your 20s, right? In your 20s, have fun, right? Ride the dick carousel, right? Have fun. Don't settle for a man. In your 20s and 30s, focus on your career, and then what? You will find a man, right? The man that you want. Have a family you want in your late 30s. And then what we're having? We're seeing either women having kids late in life, women having only like one kid, or women having difficulty in pregnancies, or women just not having kids at all. We are deluding women. We are pushing so many women to think that you can have it all. You can have a fun life, a luxurious life, a life that's very high level in career, wealthy. It's like, no, that's fucking stupid. You can have the man of your dreams. You can have the kids you want. You can have the life that you want. You cannot.
Later on, we tell women they should be able to do whatever they want and not deal with consequences of their actions. In other words, go ahead and be on OnlyFans and you'll still find a guy that's 6'3" making $100,000 a month that's going to take you seriously. It's not going to happen.
Sure,
so we're not honest with women about what happens, and the reason why is because women don't really deal with the consequences of their bad decisions a lot of times until it's too late. At least with men, if I'm a loser, I have to deal with the consequences of being a loser. Women don't. We don't tell them the truth because financially, there's no incentive to tell women the truth because women are consumers. So we want to tell them what sounds good so they continue to consume.
Real quick, it's like how Unilever owns Ben & Jerry's and they own Dove's Real Beauty campaign. It's like telling all these women, hey, you're beautiful if you're fat. By the way, here's our ice cream, eat more of it.
Yeah. We don't tell women the truth, which is one of my biggest problems. Like, if we want to give them agency, that's fine. But at least let's let them know this is what your agency comes with. And if you decide to go down this road, this was going to happen. We don't tell women the truth, which is one of the biggest issues.
I'm totally with you, actually. So one of my biggest frustrations with feminism, as somebody who's defending feminism, which is funny because feminists really don't like me a lot of the time, is that I think that we have done a lot of infantilizing of women. I think that infantilizing of women was a form of sexism that came with low agency. And the issue is that women are being like, we want agency, but also baby us. And I think that that's a bad thing. The issue is that I have no issue with you saying, women, you should have a family. It's the thing that you will come to love the most. You should be more careful in who you're selecting. I don't have any issue with this. I have an issue with you taking away my rights because that takes away my agency.
Well, a lot of times we have to take your agency away so you make the right decisions. That's the problem.
Well,
and that's
the
how it
issue,
used to work for a
that's
very
not
long
meaningful.
time.
That's
because
not
when
meaningful.
you leave women, well, here's the thing. When you leave women to their own devices, they make really bad decisions.
When you
right?
leave men
Look
to
at
their own
the divorce
devices,
rates,
they
look at
make
the marriage
bad
rates, look at the ways.
Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. I don't disagree. When you leave people to their own devices, people make bad decisions. The problem is, right? The problem is when you leave women, right, to their own devices and women make bad decisions. Guess what? There are simp men that will bail them out. There will be simp men that will bail them out, or women have an scapegoat, blame it on men. Women blame it on men. Okay? So, or the government will bail them out. It's like women, even if women have the free agency, right? Women have the freedom of choice. Women will still have abilities to take away accountability. Now, for men to have freedom of choice, yes, men can fuck it up too. But guess what? Men will be held accountable for bad decisions. Women won't want him, right? He won't get no woman, right? He will go to jail. And women can go to jail, but statistically, women doing the same crime as men, they still get less sentence than men, right? Exact same crime as a man. Statistically, women still get lesser sentence. So even society will still try their best to bail women out. While if men make wrong choices in life, their life will be fucked up. There are more men that are homeless than there are women. There are more homeless shelters specifically geared towards women than there are men. There are more programs geared towards helping women than there are programs towards helping men. And that's the issue. If men fucked up, no one is bailing out a man. No one. Not society, not the government, not women, not his family, nobody. Right? If women fuck up, right? We have society, we have the government, we have fucking men that will bail out a woman. Now, I'm not saying this is great, but I guarantee you there are more men, and I'm not saying this is like these are good men, right? But there will be plenty of men that will take in a homeless woman, right? Take in a homeless woman. Now, yes, I get it. It could be nefarious, right? It could be he wants to abuse her or have sex with her, whatever. But still, he would gladly put a roof over her head. There is no such woman that would take a homeless man on the street, right? I don't think, in my personal opinion, there isn't. Now, maybe there's but I say balance of probability, no. Okay? So, women balance of probability by a huger percentage, right? By a huger percentage. Of course, there's nuances. There are, there are specific situations, but in general, society will bail out women, or women will have less accountability than men. So that is the difference.
Society is now where the nuclear family is crumbling. When you give women their own decisions, they make really bad decisions. That's why the father was so important, because we would keep our daughters off the strip poles and our sons out of jail. At least with men, however, when we do dumb shit, we deal with consequences. With
How many
women,
men are addicted to porn?
They don't deal with consequences.
How many men are addicted to porn?
Here's the thing, though. They're addicted to
lot.
porn because you're right. But again, they deal with consequences for being fucking losers. Women don't. That's my point.
Women do,
What does that
because they
mean?
turn.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Of course they do. You already said that if they go on and they.
No. We have 600-pound women, right? We have 600-pound women with men, right? With boyfriends. We have women with 8 fucking kids with a man that would be ready to be a stepdad. We have women, ex-OF models, ex-P stars, right? That have husbands. We have women that have been abusive to men. Women that, what is it? That woman that's online, Drew Duffalo, right ever, literally said she hates men. Literally said she hates man, right? Hates men. Has a husband or a fiance or whatever. We have women that say, publicly say, she hates men. And these women have men, right? We have women that can be the worst women in the world, okay? Still find a man. We have women that have wasted their years having sex with dozens of men, and then 70, 80 have a simp ready to marry her. The same in general cannot be said for men. If a man is a loser, right, living in his mother's basement, no job, no nothing, no woman is searching for him, right? No woman is searching for him. That's the thing. And because this is the thing where if a man has in any bad situation, right? A man is like, maybe if he's an XP star, no woman is searching for him. Because that is also another thing that men fall into. Men are the pursuers, not women in general. So that's the thing. While a woman can be the worst type of woman ever, there will be a man that will approach you, that will pursue you. The same cannot be said about women.
Travel this career and stuff, they're going to be less likely to find a man. That is the consequence of their choice.
But they don't
that
find
you're
out till
talking
it's
about.
too late, is my point.
The issue is that most
And we
men
don't
who are
tell them
addicted to
this.
porn don't discover how much it's fucking up their sex lives until
Their
they actually
dicks
get a
can't come
girlfriend
up,
and they
yeah.
can't inside their girlfriend. That's the issue with porn addiction.
Sure.
So
Wait,
typically,
hold on. Myron, you want to ban porn?
Do I? Man, it has a lot of. Dude, I'm very close to. Yeah,
he wants a nanny state, guys.
I think it needs to be regulated in a way. I think we need to regulate it.
Do you want to ban porn?
I think it's a
No.
problem.
No.
You don't. But what about all those problems you just named?
Again, I don't want to ban drugs, even though drugs cause addiction a lot of time. I
So,
want
okay.
people to make choices, and I want there to be off ramps for bad choices as much as possible. But at the end of the day, I want people to make a noble choice. If I sit my kid down, hold on. If I sit my kid down and I say carrots or broccoli, and they choose carrots, I'm not going to be like, wow, my kid's picking healthy food. No, they were forced to the correct action by necessity. I don't want that.
What if you
society.
had ice cream to that? What if you said broccoli, carrots, ice cream? What are they going to
Now
pick?
they have agency.
And what are they going to pick?
They're probably going to pick ice cream for a long
Fuck
time.
yeah, ice cream every time.
Yeah.
So
Until they get tummy aches
here's my
and then they
question.
stop.
It's not to agree or disagree, but it's a philosophical moral question.
Yeah.
You keep saying, yes, these bad things are going to happen, but we should be able to choose.
Yes.
If that system leads to the end of humanity, is it the right choice?
That system has led to America as it is today, and I think America.
No,
is,
that's not correct.
It
Oh, well,
absolutely
technically it is.
Hold on.
With all its crime and
well, what is
dysfunction.
Western civilization? Western civilization is Greek philosophy, it's Roman bureaucracy and law, and it is Christian theology. That's the foundations of Western society. And all of these systems value individualism. It values your ability to make choices, including bad choices.
So let me ask you: is it like it's nice to have your door open on a nice, cool summer night? You know,
Sure.
it feels good. And then at 3 a.m, one day a guy breaks into your house. Yes, you can mention that there are good systems that lead to comfortability and success, but eventually those can create security problems for your society, which creates the ebb and flow of security states.
Exactly, but
the
this is
problems are
why-
going to get so bad that more Myrons are going to start emerging because they're going to say crime is way too high. Women keep voting for Democrats overwhelmingly, and whether the reason is that women vote for Democrats, that's what they identify, and then it's going to lead to some kind of social disorder and then an authoritarian shift.
Sure, so there's this.
Kamala
I
would be
wish
president right now if we had to rely on female votes. She would be
Probably.
president right now.
Yeah, so
That's bad.
It'd be a Democrat supermajority across the country.
So there's this concept, I wish I could remember what it's called, but it's this idea how essentially sometimes the advocacy, the social advocacy itself prevents the bad thing from happening. So let me give an example.
Let me say this. I'm a big promoter of equality. I'm a big promoter of, we should have the freedom of choice. The issue is that I also believe that we live in a civilized society. We live in a society where we are not gods ourselves. There is a leader, right? We have government. We shouldn't have 100% control of our own actions. Because honestly, balance of probability, human beings are stupid, right? Human beings are stupid. You could see how in almost every animal culture, right? Or I don't know, say culture, but hierarchy of any animals, all right? The lions, hyenas, whatever. there's usually a hierarchy. There's usually rules and regulations. People are being controlled. Animals are being controlled. Leaders, wolves, and shit like that. That is society, because nobody, right, should have 100%, right, freedom of choice. That is dangerous. It is dangerous. It is not how how a civilized nation can prosper if everyone have 100% freedom of choice. So even, let's say little kids, you are the fucking parent. No child, right? No child should have 100% freedom of choice. No, that is stupid. That is absolutely heading towards, yes, the destruction of society. Then you might as well be a fucking hermit, because that is stupid. We live in a civilized nation, right? Civilized society. Nobody should have 100% freedom of choice. It is dangerous. I think it's stupid, right, to promote such shit. Because yes, why would you want society to be destroyed? Imagine if 100, 200, 300 years ago, right, we had people with this kind of ideology. Oh, you know what? Everyone should have freedom of choice. If society crumbles, society crumbles. That means when it comes to your generation, society is shit already, right? It's lawless. It's like fucking Mad Max. Is that great? No. So if we think, oh, let's have all freedom of choice, and then our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren suffer, that is fucking immoral and stupid. So no, I don't, it's like, we have to honestly think past ourselves. I think, in my personal opinion, America has become too individualistic. It is understandable and okay to be a bit selfish. I don't mind that. But we became too selfish, too narcissistic. This fucking word, right, narcissistic, was not around 50, 60, 70 years ago, right? Only around in the, last 10, 20 years? Because we become so selfish, it is insane. We become so individualistic, it is to a dangerous degree. So, this is why women can't be leaders. Now, I'm not saying women shouldn't have some form of, position of power, someone in the Senate, someone that, but to lead everyone, as in a president, this is why. This is stupid. This is why a lot of women, you could have some power, but you need balance and checks.
Example. You guys are familiar with Jordan Peterson, Bill C-16. He was super worried about, are you guys familiar with this? So I don't have to summarize it. You guys are familiar with this? Great. Okay.
Yeah, he lost that, didn't he?
He did. But one of his arguments for why he's doing it is he was saying this might lead to some sort of authoritarian control on free speech. And a whole bunch of people, especially on my side, were like, you're so stupid. The issue is that it is very likely that his advocacy against C-16 is part of what informed Congress's interpretation of that bill to make it less authoritarian. I don't have an issue with you guys saying women should be more cautious. Women aren't being very smart. I don't have an issue with that. That's free speech. And that is some of the things that will probably offset the degradation of society that you're maybe worried about if I agree with your worldview. What I care about is taking away rights. That's it. That's my hard line. Don't take away the rights.
Once again, let me answer the question. If the system you have described leads to the end of humanity, was it a good system?
I would have to believe you that the American project will lead to the end of society. I just don't think it will.
The question is, let's try this again.
Sure.
If a system of open and free choice would ultimately lead to the end of civilization, human death and extinction, is it a good system?
Nope. But I don't think that that's the system that we have.
So at what point in the current trends would it get bad enough for you to believe we are on track for civilizational collapse? Could it be like fertility at 0.3 or?
This is the thing where even if civilization doesn't collapse, I think if our metrics are worse than ever, because you can look at this, okay? Happiness metrics, the U.S. is worse than ever. Happiness metrics, education, like a lot of metrics we use to determine, a good society or whatever. The U.S., America, is not doing well in certain metrics of happiness, education, I don't know. So many things, Okay? Freedom, whatever. So, to be honest, if we are last on so many different metrics that shows that we are a good society or a happy society, people are loving it, that kind of shows you that, you know, what we're doing is not giving us good results. Because here's the thing. More women than ever, okay, are on antidepressants. More women than ever are on some form of medication for some form of mental disorder, right? Either, you know, emotional depression is, I think depression is kind of a mental disorder, right? So more women than ever are on medicine because they have issues. So, you know, what can I say? Can women have logical argument win? Never.
0.6.
No, no. That's tough because the fertility issue is way less about feminism and way more about our terrible food and our agriculture.
I disagree.
Well, like you guys just talked about E and testosterone. Like that's really bad for fertility.
Well, you know, they do say that actually, you know, I was saying that earlier about the microplastics. Men are to blame for the fertility issue too.
They are.
By all means, we can mention that guys have gotten weaker and whinier, whatever you want to say. But the reality is, I won't make any excuses for it. I didn't have a family in my 20s. I just had a kid for the first time.
Congratulations.
Where was my generation, men and women, to be like, it is a social imperative to have a family now, sort it out. For all the young guys, men were told sexual liberation, you don't need to have a family, who cares, birth control and abortions in every major city. Mm-hmm. And now Gen Alpha, I don't think people realize how insane it is that the upcoming
you could say that men are less manly, or microplastics or whatever, fertility rates are in men are low. But here's the thing. Whatever issue, right, you have about men, you can't say that the birth rate is low because of men. Why? Because women are not desiring to have kids. So it's like, imagine a world where all women are desiring to have kids, right? All women want kids in their 20s. They want kids once they hit 21, once they hit 25. Okay. And then men are more estrogen in men, or microplastics in men. Men's fertility rates are very low. Then, yes, you can blame men, right? You can blame men then. Oh, birth rates are low because of men. Because all women want kids. All women want kids very soon. Then, yes, you can blame men for their low health, their poor health. You can blame men. The issue with that and the stupidity in that is that you can't. More women than ever are pushing back, right, when they want to have kids. More women than ever are choosing to have kids or getting married late in their 30s. That's not because men's fertility rates are low. That's why women are not having kids until late. No. Women, freedom of choice. Women are choosing to get married later in life. Women are choosing to even try to have kids later in life. So, no, it is not men's fault that the birth rate is low. 100%, it's not men's fault. Plain and simple.
Generation that are 15 years old at their oldest, there's only 40 million already. And actually, I'm a big fan of this part. Universities are shutting down. 18 years on from the financial collapse in 07, 08, people my age didn't have any kids. There are no 18-year-olds to go to university or to start jobs. And so companies are struggling to hire. Universities are shutting down. And this is just the beginning of fertility collapse. Now, if we had a society that told men, and I'm saying even with choice, they said to men, guys, you should strive to be the best, the strongest, the boss. Women, choose what you want, but social pressure is be a mom, have a family, help society continue. If that was the route we went and we still had social pressures on having kids, we wouldn't be in this fertility crisis.
I actually just agree with you. The issue is that
Yo, Jay, what's up, my brother? What's up? Yo, email me, right? Anytime and schedules that you want to, if you want any particular day. I usually, I don't mind whenever, if you want to do a collab. So email me any times you have where you usually, do a live. We could collaborate.
think the way for the government to manage it isn't to like take away women's right to vote. It would be things like child tax credits. Like, didn't the BBB actually include a really big child tax credit? One of the reasons why people don't have kids in a lot of like high income areas is because of wealth disparity. I mean, it's like $45,000 to give birth.
The principal reason is always cultural.
I agree. I agree. Right.
So,
And
we live in a society that needs to be saying, what do you mean you don't have kids? That's crazy. Instead, we live in a society where it's like, don't have kids, it's bad for the environment.
Sure, and we kind of hate kids, right? Like, there's a lot of families that move. It's just the argument would be like, I mean, to bring up the Jews, Israel.
Bring them up.
Israel,
my favorite topic.
Yeah, one of your favorite topics. But it's just to use a good example of a high-income country that actually has a really strong cultural value on family. They have a fuckload of kids. Those people, they're all having lots and lots of kids, and they're meeting the replacement level. And so I'm not opposed. I agree with you. The idea that we told a bunch of young people, hey, remember how much
I didn't know college were closing down. That was the first time I've heard of that. So yeah, I'm going to look into it. I'm going to look into it and read some more. I didn't know that. But here's the thing. I've said this. Okay. After feminism, right? The world after feminism, everything in my honest opinion, right? Everything after feminism, you cannot blame on men. I honestly believe everything after feminism, that is either 90% or even controversially 100% on women, not men, right? That is the world that women have created. This is the world that women have created. So whatever outcome, right? Whatever outcome we as a society are suffering from, right? The results or whatever, it is 100% on women's shoulders, not men. Thank you.
the boomers sucked, you shouldn't have kids. Your life will be better. It turns out when everyone's dead and dying, everyone says the same thing. They wish they had more family connections and they wish they spent more time with them. So absolutely having kids matters, but make it more affordable, give them tax incentives, incentivize the behavior that we want to see, and encourage it. But don't take away women's right to vote. That's not going to change anything.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think a system that cannot survive, like, I don't know how to ask this question, but if a system cannot survive, does it matter? In the long run, like there have been very few anarchist communes that have existed as forms of government, but like Catalonia, they get crushed immediately by barbarians.
I don't know. Like, does Rome matter even though they got crushed? Yeah, I would say it does.
Yeah, Rome was an empire with
so is America.
Indeed. So I'm talking about anarchist systems that they don't function, they don't work. It's this idea, it emerges and immediately gets crushed.
Yes.
The point I'm making is,
nation states
right now, there is a first. I will point out the humor of the person on stage, and that Myron doesn't have any kids,
Right.
And Kat does, and so Myron loses that genetic debate.
I'm waiting.
But
Oh,
if
aren't we all?
The end result of this
Well, I got
system,
time unlike you guys.
But so the end.
That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah,
Let me finish. Let me finish this point.
Yeah.
The end result is that liberals with these feminist sensibilities are less likely to have kids, more likely to abort, and shockingly more likely to surgically amputate the genitals of their children than conservatives who are less feminist and more traditional. You can do whatever the fuck you want on TV as long as that fertility trend continues, and it is happening. There's going to be a collapse of the feminist ideology, and conservatives will take over in 50 to 60 years because there are no liberals being born.
But the issue is that, like, typically conservatives' children go to school and then they're like, wait.
And universities are shutting down.
Sure.
And Trump is gutting the Department of Education. Conservatives are winning this battle. And I want to stress
Well,
this.
Tim,
too.
but
I
aren't
wanna stress
liberals
real quick-
sweatier, though? Aren't they going to get
Perhaps,
pregnant?
but I want to stress this one point. I was talking to Kyla before the show. On the culture war, we may not have abject victory, but South Park has made fun of Donald Trump. Now, why? Is it because he's friends with Epstein? No. Is it because his tariff policy is bad? No. It's because he's gay and they called him a When South Park says to mainstream liberals, Trump is bad and it's because he's gay, and that's what they're making fun of, that's a cultural shift so far to the right, it is shocking in a short period of time.
I mean, I would just argue it's a shift towards the center. Like most libertarians,
Sure.
and most, like, as an edgy liberal, I've always been for like free speech and language. I don't care if you call people like the
And Gen Z guys are shifting rightward. Gen Z is the first generation in 100 years to begin shifting rightward.
Yep.
And I think a large reason, not the only reason, is fertility rates, which we saw in the 2000s among liberals at about 1.43 and conservatives 2.01, meaning in 18 years, there will be 20 or so % more conservatives than liberals based on who their parents teaching
That's
them.
again, but that's assuming that these people like don't over time like shift back leftwards, right? And I think,
And-
well,
so
if I could just
I
respond
wanna-
a little bit.
I want to address that. Sorry
Sure.
for talking so much, but I do want to address that point because you mentioned it already about the universities.
Sure.
That's why I brought up South Park. The cultural shift is pronounced. The liberal woke stuff was shifted so rapidly in the course of a couple of years that when you mention universities and the cultural trends to pull conservative kids left, that's shifted dramatically.
I agree, but I think assuming something like the universities are going to go away, like the university institution has been around for like 2,000 years. I don't think universities are going away, and generally universities tend to trend left because people who are leftward are high openness to experience, so they tend to like things like learning and education, right? What I think is actually more important here is has the left failed to indoctrinate within its
But you gotta think, less men are going to college. It's only women. So and you got to see, yes, universities do tend to lean left. But guess what? Less men are going to universities. More men are doing trades. So I think, and it is a proven fact that more men, right, more younger men are shifting right. So we are having a society where, yes, to be honest, I think women are already leaning left. So women aren't shifting left, right? Women already lean left. The problem is, well, the left-leaning men are shrinking. And that's the thing. When you have a society where most women are already left, while less men are leaning left, and then these left-leaning women can't date right-leaning men, well, then these right-leaning women are kind of losing out. Because here's the thing. There is an increase, right, of men going around the world, right? Passport bros. Men are finding wives outside of the country. I'm not saying this to a large degree, but men are finding ways to go around certain things, right? Men are tired of all the feminism, of the left-leaning women, all these women, men are tired of it. So men are, one, dating younger. So I'm not saying that young women don't lean left, but I'm saying men are dating younger. So, may change women's views, right? I don't want to say manipulate women, but it is what it is. Or they're dating outside of the country. So, we'll see. We'll see how society is turning out. For me, it's like, I've said this. The world, the Western world, how we see it today, it's the results of women. As a man, I'm just sitting back and just watching the world burn, right? I'm sitting back watching the world that women created. Let's see it burn, right? If it burns, I'm watching. If it doesn't, okay, then women are right. It is what it is. I'm not too prideful to say that, to be hurt that if women are right. But how societies go right now, I don't think so.
Culture of value of children? I would just say, yeah, I think it has, right? But one thing that I would caution you towards, right, when you write this doomsday of feminism leading to the collapse and decay of all of society, when you look at cultural trends, they're always ebbing and flowing back and forth because one side starts winning the culture war and the political war. They get too much power. They become kind of assholes because a lot of us are assholes with power. And then the other...
Exactly. See? Jay's on the same board. I think a lot of men, like MGTOW, right? MGTOW movement, a movement men created. Literally that. It's literally that. Men are just sitting back, not even dealing with women. They're sitting back and just watching, right? We're eating popcorn and watching the world that women created possibly burn down. Because for men, even when the world burns down, men can build it back up. That's how fucking men are, right? Every civilization that has been destroyed, guess what? A new one created by men have been created on the ruins of failed civilizations. No women throughout history, right, have created a civilization. Only men. So now we are seeing modern day women are establishing their civilization. So if it fails, right, if it comes to ruins, I think eventually men will have to build a newer civilization on top of the ruins that women have created. We'll see.
Side kind of populates and becomes more popular again, right? And we've seen this dance back and forth between left and right, winning the culture war and leading all the time. This is kind of what democracy is. In fact, that's the fundamentals of what democracy is. And so I don't think that we should be looking at feminism going, this is going to lead to the death and decay of society. We should go, what parts of it are bad? What parts of the institutions are bad? What things need to be corrected? And how do we correct them? Because so far, the miracle of the American project is pretty damn fucking good. It's actually the best thing that's ever happened in human history, probably ever. Okay? We love America.
That's pretty nuanced. I think that's the correct answer. Give it up for Nasir. I think we can agree with that. That's pretty
it is a good answer, but I do want to make one point that's going on right now with Washington, D.C. is, and it's not, Trump focuses on D.C., but Chicago, all these big cities.
Like the cities? Okay.
It's insane how disgusting and crime-ridden our cities have become. I mean, we saw a tent city on the way here, And there's two questions. Why does the city allow this? And I don't mean to forcefully remove people with no choice. You can make the liberal argument of why are they not trying to help these people to solve that problem, or the conservative argument, why are they allowing people to camp on their street? But let's.
Yeah, and we got to get to people. And one thing we didn't talk about, but one point I wanted to make earlier, the aspect of trans people taking taking over women's space, because you don't think that trans women are a threat to actual femininity or what? I mean,
I'm not
like
for
a
them.
trans person going into a woman's restroom. Like, isn't that against
I'm just for
feminism?
co-ed restrooms, because if you've ever seen like men's bathrooms versus if you've ever travel, get a passport. I promise. In Europe, they have mostly oftentimes co-ed bathrooms, and one of the best things about
At,
it,
like nightclubs.
no, like on like public streets, like all through like Venice and stuff. I remember going to co-ed bathrooms in the UK, like in France, it was like totally normal. And surprise, France, yes, in France. And one thing that I would actually point out here is if you've ever seen the lines between like the male bathroom and the woman bathroom, it would be great if we were sharing the same space. Okay,
Come
I'm gonna
on.
get to the
I
bathroom
think-
way
I-
fucking
I'm
fast.
actually, hold on,
Wait,
I'm sorry.
because you
I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about this. Sometimes the woman's bathroom is fucking disgusting because women will not sit on the seat. If you could just sit, everyone could sit. They like hover over and they like it looks like they were hula hooping and pissing all over the place. It's disgusting. It could just be.
These guys really want you to know how
crazy.
dirty their bathrooms are.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they are, but you'd be if we could just sit, then we could all sit.
See, men are better at
If we
everything,
could
even
just
bathrooms.
sit, we could all
We're better at
sit.
everything, even
There was a-
bathrooms.
there
They
was-
can't even pee correctly.
Well,
We give them
I
rights.
didn't say that, but
It's crazy.
Do you guys hear
Telling
this?
you guys.
There's a very funny
Prove my
story.
point.
Real quick, we're gonna go to the audience, but there was a really funny story where this woman was an Antarctic researcher complaining about sexism because she couldn't stand up and piss in Antarctica, and so she was insisting that the U.S. spend research the research grant money on building outhouses in the middle of Antarctica because it was sexist that men could unzip and release, and she couldn't, and she didn't think it was. She didn't want to use one of those funnels.
They have the funnel. Yeah, I know.
She should
Anyway,
use the
My
funnel.
mom
Yeah,
used
it's
one
fun.
for years.
We're
All
not
right.
spending money on that.
Look, the penis tech is a good tech. I will say that shit of spraying around. That's pretty cool.
All right, guys, this has been a good debate so
got
far.
one here, right?
Yeah, I got the list right here. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick some names, and you're going to immediately haul ass to this side of the stage where I'm pointing. We're going to have a microphone. If you're good for a minute, we might bring you on stage. If you suck, we're going to make you sit down, okay? So even though the order...
Now you know what Alex thinks about you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm just going to be open and honest, guys. All right, so our first person that we're calling is...
Let's go from the list.
Yeah, we are. Armand Gupta. Where's Armand Gupta?
I
Is
remember this
Armand
guy.
here?
I
Was
think
he here
Alex made
last
fun of you
week?
the first
No,
one.
I think I'm going to kick him off. Yeah, Armand. Where is Armand Gupta here? Armand, is
I can't see anything because the lights
Dr.
are so bright.
Gupta, come on.
Spicy, yeah.
Yeah,
she's-
making fun of Myron.
Eva,
Myron.
give it up, Eva.
All right, Ava.
Like from Wall.
Hello. How are you?
Is it
It's
is it
Eva, I
Eva
fucked
or
up.
Igua?
Eva.
Eva. Okay.
So explain why Myron was wrong again.
She said I'm radical, basally.
Well, I just think that your rhetoric is exactly the same thing that you hate.
Okay.
And I was wondering how you think that's going to solve the problem. If women hating men is what has caused this problem in the first place, how is men hating women going to fix it?
Yeah, so it's not us hating you guys. It's just us realizing that you guys are not equal to us, and we have to be the custodians of women. We have to protect and provide for you guys. I'm actually very big into a traditional relationship where the man is the leader, protects and provides for his woman, and all she has to worry about is making sandwiches and taking care of the kids. And I think that's how society's thrived for a long time. So it's actually the contrary. I think men need to protect women from themselves a lot of the times because I don't think women in positions of power leads to a great society.
So one other thing that you said earlier was that men being in power has led to a great history.
Yes.
Do you think that the history of men being in power is flawless?
No, there's always going to be flaws with human error in general.
So human error.
That's the thing, right? I wanna talk about this where that is what people use, right? I love America. I am proud, 100% proud, being an American. 100% proud of being born in America. This is why I've done content, right? I've done content talking about race, right? Black community and shit like that, because it hurts me. It hurts me to see Americans, particularly the black community, hate on America because of racism. And I don't discredit. I've had racist remarks against me. I've experienced racism. The problem I see is that we look at oh, I hate America because of the past. Guess what? Every fucking country, every fucking nation, almost every inch of civilization on this earth, nobody's flawless. Nobody's perfect. Nobody doesn't have closet skeletons in their closet. No civilization on this earth is flawless, is perfect. There's no such thing as a utopia. So to say that, oh, America is shitty because of its past is stupid. Okay? It's not great how we started. Fine. It don't mean that America is shitty. It don't mean that you should be shitting on the very nation that is giving you the right that you have now. Okay? Even the most poorest of poor person in our nation lives better, right, than most other countries in this world. So it is so entitled to hate on America when honestly, if you live in most other countries in this world, you won't even have the same privileges. You won't have the same luxuries even as the most poorest person in this world. Some of the most poorest people in our nation has electricity, water, some form of income, right? We have so many luxuries that most other countries do not have. Wi-Fi, right? TVs, shit. That's even the poorest of us. So that's why I just hate when people shit on their countries and they use the past. Are you stupid? There is no such thing as a perfect country. Everyone, every place on this world has an ugly past. To use that as your ammo to shit on your country is absolutely idiotic.
Error in general, that includes men and women. And why would women have more error than men?
Well, here's the thing. We don't have any matriarchy that have stood the test of time, really. Everything that's been successful has been a patriarchy. So, and
for
there's
beehives.
a bunch of beehives.
We're not
Fantastic.
bees. We're not
Of
bees.
course.
I hate stuff like
Except
that.
for bees.
Yeah, we're not bees.
Wait, wait.
I'm sorry, Ava. We're not bees.
Wait, but if we just granted your evolutionary argument of like development, yeah, patriarchies have been the most competitive, and now what we're seeing is that an egalitarian society that includes women in like the workforce and the right to vote are the most successful societies in like it seems like we've just continued to advance, and the next level of advancement is the inclusion of women.
No, I don't.
I don't know what to tell you. History disagrees.
No, again, feminism has led to so many problems with this whole egalitarianism because, again,
So Saudi Arabia is better than America.
I'm sorry?
Saudi Arabia is better than America. We're back here.
You are correct about that, but they have some things in better check
Interesting.
than we do when it comes to dealing with their women, right? But yes, to go back to what we're saying, I think a male-led society is going to fare off a lot better than a female-led society. Is my point. Everything is going to be prone to human error, but I think when men are in charge, there's going to be less error.
Do you... Okay. I would just say to that throughout history, you know, and you think about
I agree that a male-led society is better. I'm not saying devoid of women, okay? I do think that it is a good thing. Okay? That I'm not saying this is what I hate DEI shit. I don't think we should judge people, right? On the basis of, let's say, if you're a man or a woman, if you're black, white, or Asian. That's the thing where I do believe a male-led society is better because balance of probability, we are more logical than emotional, but there are plenty of men that are emotional. I'm saying balance of probability, right? And again, I just think that we should not be devoid of giving opportunities for the best person, okay? The best person needed just because of whatever, right? Their race, their gender, stuff like that. The problem is, right? Let's say the whole thing with Kamala thing, right? Or Hillary Clinton. I've heard so many people were willing to vote for Kamala or Hillary just because they're women. I've heard so many people voted for Obama just because he's black. And that is the problem, right? That is the problem. We have pushed, let's say this, when it was just men, right? Just men. A lot of times, not all the time, we would push it just because the best man possible, right? The best man possible. Now, we are pushing that, you know what? I don't give a shit if it's the best man possible. I just want, you know what? I want a black person. I want a woman. I want a minority woman too. So you're not picking the best person possible. Even the thing where you're not picking the best woman possible. No. The thing is that you're just picking a woman. You're not picking the best black man possible. No. You're just picking a black man. That is the problem I'm seeing. When it was at least a patriarchy where it's men, you're picking the best man possible. That's the thing why I said, oh, a man leadership is probably better, in my opinion.
all of the major wars and everything, are we in a significantly different place on a world cultural scale than men-led societies.
I'm a little confused by your question. Are you saying like, are we?
With women having the right to vote, has
Yeah.
that changed? Have there been more wars since women have been given the right to vote?
I think
mean-
yes.
Yeah,
In
I
the
mean,
United States, and without declaration of war.
yeah. Are you saying like in the United States? Yeah, you can make the argument. Yeah. I mean, again, my thing is, I think that men are better than women in everything that matters, and I think men need to lead society, and I think women should be focusing on having children and families versus chasing a career. And if we are going to allow them to go ahead and chase a career, let's at least be honest with them and let them know that this is going to come with some very serious consequences that might lead to your long-term sorrow, sadness, antidepressant medication, etc. I just don't think that we're honest with women
Myron.
about where they stand.
Would you have children through an artificial womb?
No.
If men
so
are so
you-
much better than women, then why are they failing so much at things like education and achieving like high status jobs? Why are women?
Because the
actually
education system
competing?
is literally geared towards women.
So women have
sitting
been
down
like
and
more
being submissive and listening to
powerful.
someone lecture you.
I
like,
don't. Hold on.
Wait, wait,
Hold on.
But hold on. Career-wise, most of the Fortune 500 companies are run by men.
I agree, but
Irrespective.
the issue is that like if men are so much better than women, then how are we in this position where like suddenly men are also like being like destroyed by society and crushed by them? Like we can't have these two mutually exclusive things at the same time. What I would actually argue is that men are stupid in a lot of stupid ways. You guys punch things, stop doing that. You guys masturbate all the time, stop doing that. Chill out.
Women
okay?
masturbate too.
Women, but a lot fucking less.
You guys have like
Bro, there's
a
a whole
battery-powered
industry.
dildo.
Seriously,
I think you guys
there's
masturbate
billions
a
to be
lot.
made.
Nobody's
In
gonna
fact-
make the argument
in fact,
that porn
the
is more
WNBA is just become the dildo show.
Yes.
Sure.
More dildos in the WBA.
Sure, but nobody would argue that women are actually consuming more porn than men. Porn is obviously dominantly male consumed, and male OnlyFans is mostly purchased for by men. Okay.
Yeah.
Sad men. Okay.
But I do want to stress this point.
Goddamn
There's an
Jews.
argument. There's an
come
argument.
up, come
problem.
up. Submit your name, guys, if you want to talk
So,
to me.
greater
Who wants
male
to-
variability hypothesis. There are a shitload of really shitty guys, but there's a smaller amount of substantially more successful, intelligent, and strong guys than women.
This is like the hypergamy
No,
argument.
it's the greater male variability.
Oh yeah, yeah.
hypothesis.
I would agree. Like when you look at like the extreme ends of genetics, right? Men tend to be the stupidest and the smartest, right? Like if you look at the lowest IQ in
And that's the thing. I've said this before. Okay, we constantly. This is the problem, right? With how women's arguments, right? This is the problem with women arguments. Women only use the worst to represent all men. Okay, and they don't realize that women are consistent. Women are not smarter than men. Women are not more stupid than men. That's the thing. Because men occupy the extreme ends of the spectrum. There are more men that are stupid. There are more men that are smarter. That's it. While women predominantly occupy the middle, right? Women are more consistent. But women constantly use the lower end of the spectrum as their argument, which is actually very disingenuous in their arguments. Okay, yes, there are a lot of stupid men, but there are a lot of smart men. So really,
individuals. Sorry, guys, it's
Hey,
men.
guys.
But when you
Yeah,
look at the
that's
highest
the
IQ individuals, it's also men, right? Women are a lot more stable in a lot of things, which is, I think, one of the things that, yes, stable. For example, their bell curve is more flattened, right? You're not going to get the extreme ends on
Wait,
either
let me ask
side,
you a question.
which is good for society.
Let me ask you a question. Is it better for society to be led by the smartest individuals?
Not always necessarily. This idea of like
Sometimes a
a
stupider individual?
well, no, like mostly virtuous. I want the
Well,
society
no,
to be led
irrespective
by-
of virtue. Let's assume that we're aiming for virtuous people. Would we, of the
we are.
virtuous people we've identified, we want the smartest of them,
Well,
right?
I want to answer
I
this
would
one.
just say we have-
well, because there's two parts of our brain. There's a logical part. There's the
Oh,
emotional
I
part.
got to ask this question.
He wants
it-
to appeal to my feelings too.
Let's say we've looked at the most virtuous people in the country.
Yeah.
Would we want to choose the smartest of them to be our leaders?
Assuming that they're like actually qualified, sure, I suppose. But
Okay, like
well,
aptitude. Let's say aptitude.
Yeah,
They're
sure, the
capable.
highest aptitude. I just think
Okay,
that for
the
the most part, when it comes to leadership, it's more about a prerequisite, which is a really high prerequisite.
So
But then
I-
after that,
my
humans
point
actually
is,
exist. Sure.
when you look at Fortune 500 companies, with or without feminism, the only way to get parity of female leaders is through force.
I don't
is
want
through
parity.
social force.
I don't want parity.
I'm not
Like
saying you do.
DEI is
I'm
what
just making
you're
this point that with the greater male variability hypothesis, you are going to see most world leaders will always be men. Most CEOs will always be men. The top physical performers will be men.
Most
And
of the
because
homeless
there's-
will be men. Most of the drug
But that's
addicted
the
and most
point
of
I'm
the criminals will also
making.
be
Indeed,
men.
the
Yeah.
point I'm making is there are very, very few positions of power.
yeah, men get that. Men don't complain about shit like that. Men know it. Goes back to what I said very early on. Okay, men know if you fuck up, there's repercussions. There are consequences for your actions. Right? Men know that shit. Men know, there are more men that are homeless. There are more men that are wealthy. Men know this. So men know that if they fuck up, there are consequences. Women don't. Because women don't, they don't really, receive consequences, because at the very least, there's a man to bail you out. At the very least, there's a man to bail you out. So this is why, in all honesty, you can't, I can't 100%, follow women's logic, because men know the extremes. Men know the extremes. Men understand accountability, right? Men understand consequences. Women don't. So their logic is very devoid of accountability, consequences. So you can't see the logical possible ends.
Authority. And because there's a greater male variability in aptitude, you will always see these positions dominated by men. However, modern feminism, especially throughout the past 80 years or so, always has said it's a patriarchy run by men. No, it's a system run by those most capable that happen to be men.
Well, I want to make this argument, though, and it's an oversimplification.
I like that. I didn't think about that. I think that's 100% true, right? It's not a patriarchy. It's a system based on probability will be led by men. Because yes, men occupy the extremes. The most capable person will most likely be a man. But the worst person will most likely be a man as well. So men understand that. But society will usually be led by the most capable. Society will more often than not, very unlikely, will be led by the worst person. So,
But basically, our brain has two hemispheres, right and left, and there's one that they consider more emotional and one that's more logical. And that they say men use the logical side and women use the emotional side more. And I would argue that if you're more emotionally intelligent, that could make up for your logical intelligence. So even though you're not like a brainiac, a woman that has smart emotional intelligence can be just as successful. You don't agree?
Trying to open your phone.
I know, I'm just saying, you don't agree that how that can, or I guess Myron, you don't think that can overcome for logical intelligence, emotional intelligence?
That's not a thing.
Well,
that is a thing.
There's emotional stability and rationality.
There's
but
emotional intelligence. That's a
intelligence-
real thing. Yeah, because it makes it like when somebody provokes you, whether you react. Men are more reactionary. Women are less reactionary. So the emotional part of your brain is actually very important. Even when you're driving.
I want to say this, right? I believe women are more reactionary than men. The issue is that men express a higher degree of reaction. So let's say this: women, my maybe controversial opinion, I think men are more emotionally intelligent than women. A big common viewpoint that is always put on men is stoicism, right? Being stoic. What's being stoic? Right? Not emotional. In my opinion, right? Part of emotional intelligence is being in control of your emotions, not being controlled by your emotions. Women, more than often, balance of probability, are more controlled by their emotions. The issue is that, again, men occupy the extreme ends of both. Men are more in control of their emotions than women. Yet men express a higher, visibility, right? A higher visibility of less in control of emotion than women. So, like, again, a woman that, let's say, she yells at you because she can't control emotion. Yeah. More women yell at you because she can't control her emotion. But more men will beat your ass, right? Will abuse you because he can't control his emotion. So yelling, yeah, consistent. But extreme men, yes, men will be violent because he can't control his emotion. But on the spectrum of being extremely violent because he can't control his emotion, men are also, in my opinion, more emotionally intelligent because he can and he does control his emotions. We are negating the fact that I believe, right? Women are consistent. They don't control their emotions well, but they don't express extreme lack of control, right? That's the thing. Women don't express extreme lack of control. Men do.
Like if you get mad in road rage, like
That's just more greater male variability of stuff. Like the guys who are going to be the best are going to be calm, reasoned, and the same thing is true for women. But there will be more men than women.
But on average, women are more reasonable than men because they use
agreeable.
They're not more reasonable than men. This is, to be honest, this is why I don't say I support all men, right? This is why I don't say I support all men, because not all men are logical. No. More women are not reasonable than men. They're not. Because like I said, there are more men that are reasonable and also more men that aren't. The thing is that you can't, the only issue is that women are consistent. That's it. Right? They don't occupy the extreme ends. They're not more women for anything. That's the problem, right? That's the problem. There's not more women for pretty much anything. There are more men that are bad, while there are more men that are good. That's it. While there are more women that are just, or there's a consistent amount of women that are just in between. That's it. Women, the only thing that women like show off is that they are consistent.
Well, whatever you want to
Well,
say. I'm
that's-
just saying.
Agreeable is really, really important when you predict for people who are like rising to the top of like organizing people. Agreeability and the ability to work with others is an essential part, particularly of our modern like economy.
I disagree. That's how you get a bunch of yes men circle jerking each other.
No, not at all. Being agreeable doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries, right? Being agreeable means that you can like see what the priorities are and you can try to work together and find cohesiveness. I don't know what to tell you when it comes to like some of the best managers and some of the best like high senior VPs. The reality is that agreeableness predicts really strongly for this. The only people where disagreeableness predicts is typically for the CEO. But again, I don't have an issue with like men being CEOs necessarily.
Right, I would just like to say, so I'm not for like the infantilization of women in any capacity. Whether that's women, I just would like it to be a level playing field in terms of some women will go out and be successful and have very successful, high earning careers, such as myself, and but without needing to be like calling my dad to ask.
That's also why women are illogical, or how women come off as really egotistical, and why their arguments are stupid. They use their fucking self as a point in their logic. Stop it with that shit. And it's like so fucking egotistical. This is why I find men stupid, right? I can't believe a man just really just honestly just dating egotistical women like this.
If I can fuck a guy or whatever it is that Myron wants. Either side of that infantilization, I'm against. I'm a human being with agency.
If you ask your dad.
If I ask my dad,
Yeah,
so
you'd be
because
better
you
off.
said that before, right? Like mating decisions. So should I call my dad and ask if I can fuck, or should I just call my dad and ask if he has to pull out?
Well, my thing is you should be calling your dad. Well, you just exposed yourself as a 304, but that's fine. I mean, I think you should be.
That's okay. You can sit and call a
me.
married woman with a child a hoe. That says a lot more about you than it does about me, babe.
Well, you're the one making crash jokes, so I'm jumping in with you. So the point is that I think the
that's a
father should
crash
actually
joke
be
versus
involved.
calling me
I
a
think
hoe.
the father,
You
I think the father should be involved actually in the mating process with a woman. I think the dad should actually be intimately involved with picking the guy, because when women are left to
Hey,
their
Dad,
devices,
can I fuck?
That is kind of weird. All right, guys.
Hey, Dad,
take it for Eva.
should he pull out?
Like hold your
This is, this is the problem, right? Here's a woman that is proving her stupidity. Saying, oh, Dad, can I fuck? Guess what? No, you shouldn't. If you didn't fuck that man, why would you care about abortion? Right? I literally, okay, have a video of a woman saying, oh, I aborted a child because you know what? The man that I let finish in me was a loser. So, you know what? Guess what? Maybe you should have called your dad. Can I fuck this loser? Maybe you should have, right? Maybe you should have called your dad and asked him, Dad, should I fuck this loser? I guess what he would do? Guess what your fucking father would do? No, don't have sex with this loser. Is that crazy? Is that crazy, right? Because I find that makes her argument, makes her view so stupid. Because yes, you should have called your dad. Here's my controversial opinion, because Women like this are so, they prove how stupid they can be, right? If more women, right? More women called their father, right? If more women call their fathers, their brothers, their uncles, whatever, and ask, oh, should I fuck this loser? Guess what? Guess what would happen? I believe women would fuck less losers. Is that controversial? Is that crazy? I mean, come on. I find this is the thing. You are just supporting, right, men's argument, not your own. If you called your father, right, someone who cares about you, you would fuck less players, bad boys, pookies, losers. You would, right? So stop it with that bullshit. I find this is the problem with a lot of women right here. It's like,
Hand while you do it.
That's the
Come on.
future you
Here's-
want?
Is he pushing his asses a little bit more to
See,
help?
here we go. She's not even going to let me speak. It's very simple. So I actually think that fathers should be involved in their daughters' mating decisions, because here's the thing with women. You guys tend to pick the bad boy or the guy that might not necessarily be the best long-term suitor when you're at your highest value. So when the father comes in, he's able to assess this guy, be like, no, this guy doesn't really want you for you. He just wants to use you for sex. I don't want this guy. I'm going to go find you another guy that's going to actually, love you and be with you long-term and provision.
wait,
This is why
I
arranged
will
marriages
say
work
that
for so
I
long.
have
When
a-
women are able to make their own decisions, they do dumb shit. So it is what it is.
It's like when the farmer dad chases the guy out of the house with the shotgun, saying, "Get away from my daughter."
No, it's
Yeah.
like when Hulk Hogan called Brooke Hogan's
Yeah.
We gotta-
boyfriend.
we gotta-
the
we gotta-
N-word.
terrible
yeah,
thing to
Okay,
say
the next
on the
person,
phone.
real quick, come up to the stage. We got Carly.
I hate it when men are acting like women. You used a specific situation. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? I find it really absolutely idiotic. And this is why I don't support all men. Because we all know there's a spectrum. More men are stupid, but there are also more men that are intelligent. Some men are just a lot of stupid, right?
Nocta. Carly Nocta. Are you here, Carly Nocta? What? Okay, no Carly Nocta.
These people were like, "I want to come up and debate, but I'm not going to show up."
Yeah, all right. Our next person, Jay Zollers, is Jay's situation, right? Like women aren't all retarded and
No.
dumb, you know?
Well, just
But
a lot of them.
just the
Amber's not
majority
retarded.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Sorry, go
My
ahead.
husband would agree with you, but I had a question.
Smart guy.
Are you religious?
No.
Okay, I was just curious because it explained a lot of your comments. But I actually wanted to challenge you on your claim that women don't have empathy.
Okay, sure.
I actually think the
Let me
problem-
clarify though. When I talk about empathy, I mean as into the masculine experience and how men,
Oh, it's
like
okay.
to us, because and this is why so many women struggle with keeping a guy long term. Like men have to understand women to get laid. Women don't have to understand us to get laid.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Isn't
Sure.
it that men can't keep a woman long term since they're the ones divorcing him?
What was that?
Isn't it that men can't keep women long term since women are the ones initiating most divorce? So
Well,
shouldn't
what I'm
men
saying is
get
that a
better
lot
at
of
their
modern day
empathy?
women, when I talk to them and they say, like, one of the top questions I get with girls is like, well, what do guys want? Especially more attractive men. And it's amazing to me that they even have to ask that, because with men, if we don't know what women want, we just have to deal with the consequences. But with women, they can kind of get along in life and meet guys and date and everything without really knowing what men want. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so my point about empathy was actually that I think the reason perhaps why you think women don't have empathy is because of these issues we're talking about with women getting married later in life and having children later in life. The empathy is not directed towards the family unit anymore, and it's actually extrapolated to outside groups, which is why we see things like tent cities and an outsized focus on minority groups.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, they can absolutely have sympathy. But when I'm talking about empathy specifically, I'm talking about the male experience and like kind of how men go through things in life. Like I don't think women are empathetic to the masculine experience. Whereas like men, we have to understand women to some level if we want to be successful. And if you look at guys that like are really good with women, like pickup artists or dating coaches, whatever, they have a very fine-tuned understanding and empathy to women because they're trying to get laid. So they have to be able to think ahead on what the woman's going to expect, what she's going to want, the type of vibe she's going to want when it comes to making something sexual. So I argue that men are far more empathetic than women are, especially guys that are good with women. I don't think women are empathetic to men because they don't have to.
I got to disagree with that because you're also making the point that women aren't getting good guys because they're hypergamous. And so if women are going to suffer later in life because they can't get a good guy who wants to help them have a family and be a strong protector, that is a detriment to women by... I guess what I'm saying is women need to be empathetic to the male experience if they want to have a successful family and relationship.
That's right.
Yes, but they have that comes through them learning. And my thing is, I'm saying, yes, there are some women who are capable of doing that, right? I've noticed girls that have like a strong father, a lot of brothers, like they get it. But I'm saying a lot of women don't,
I see
and they're
what
still
you're
able
saying.
to get through life fairly easily without knowing it. And it isn't until
It's
maybe later
not,
on.
so to clarify, it's not intrinsic to being a woman. It is cultural. To,
Yes, there's no need because no one gives a fuck about men in general. So most women are kind of like, well, why do I gotta understand this guy? I'm hot. Like, take me out.
But just to clarify
You know?
again, if women were raised by good dads, they would understand this. You're saying?
Most women I've met that understand this, they come from either a strong patriarch with a father, uncle, or brothers. When they do have it, they have like
Kat, did you have
strong.
something to say?
Well, I mean, I have a wonderful father. I would say I'm very grateful to have a wonderful father. And it's been such a joy to watch my husband be such a wonderful father. And we're raising a little boy who is going to grow up and be a wonderful father, I hope. And Myron, I hope that someday you can be as happy in a relationship as I am in mine.
Yo, Myron's gonna have a daughter, and his whole show's gonna shift. He's gonna be a raging liberal.
I want to say one thing to Kat, though. Kat.
Yeah.
Kat.
No daughter.
Well, I do want to say, though, that you are a female comedian, very successful in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you give a lot of credit to having a strong father?
I give a credit to having a strong father every single day. I talk to my dad every day. I am so grateful to have the father that I have. And I think that men that are as wonderful as my father deserve all the credit in the world.
Is he funny?
He is funny.
I think
yeah.
I got a real funny.
And I agree. I think that's a lot of, even in like the black community, obviously, I think it's a lot of the broken home situations, Myron, that there's actually a lot of examples where black guys have both parents there and they're incredibly successful. So I think that, the way that people are brought up, the patriarchy or whatever you want to call it, is very important to their,
Well, yeah, I've always said
But
that strong dads keep daughters off shirt poles and sons out of jail. It's very important.
But isn't part of the issue that we're outlining here that you're saying is that society doesn't have empathy towards men, which I would actually just agree with. There's really good research on this, actually. If you look at like the age at which we view boys becoming men, it almost completely overlaps with the spike of suicide rates amongst young boys, which is about the age of 4.
I've said this before. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about men. Neither men nor women. All right? Nobody cares about men. And this is the problem. We think so little of men. And I find that disgusting. I really do. I find that absolutely, utterly disgusting. How we live in society that we do not care about men. We don't. We view men as disposable. And I think it's so disgusting. I really do.
14. So I would
But this is the problem, right? But again, men occupy the extreme ends, right? There are plenty of men that don't care about men, but plenty of men that do. So it's just, it's a hard life for men, but men accept it.
would actually wholly agree with you that society doesn't have like empathy for men in any way, shape, or form, right? And we have this kind of weird infantilized empathy for women that I think is actually harmful to them in a lot of ways because it robs them of a lot of their agency. But when you're saying like it's women that don't have empathy for men, I feel like you're actually missing like 50% of the pie when it's society. Nobody.
It's consistent. Women just don't care about men. While yes, there are a lot of men that don't care about men, but there are a lot of men that do. Right? It is that's the problem. Like, yes, there are a lot of men that don't give a shit about men, but there are a lot of men that do. This is the most important kind of view that a lot of people got to understand, right? Men hold the extreme ends. Women consistently across the board don't care, right? Women consistently across the board don't care. It's not that, oh, we are neglecting that men don't care. No. We understand men don't. But there are more men that do, right? There are more men that do care.
And they don't care that you're struggling. They don't care that you're lonely. They think your tears are gross. And I think that that's a horrible state. But I don't think this is a woman-driven thing. This is a societal issue.
I want to say this point to the infantilization of women. I think that it's very obvious, though, that women's social power only goes down with age as men's go up.
Yep.
So it's directly inverse. So you would want to infantilize a woman because her value is more when she's younger. So she would want to skew and tend to be more young. I mean,
sure,
isn't that right?
I think we should only infantilize children. I don't think
I'm
adults.
not pro, but I'm saying
I don't like infantilizing adults. I understand why. I think you're right as to like why we oftentimes like systemically infantilize women more. I just think it's harmful to both women and to men because it leads to this like really weird disjunct where if a woman is like sexually aggressive with a man, people are like, oh, he probably loved it. But if a man does the same thing towards the same age woman, we're all like, he's a monster. And I think that creates this disjoint of unparity that I think is harmful and devalues men in a way that I don't think is good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to feel sad, but I'm just saying, like, this is just the honest reality when it comes to, like, how women deal with men and how men deal with women. Like, men have to understand women, whereas women don't really have to understand men to be able to get the same access, right?
But if they
women don't
understood women better, they'd probably have longer marriages and women would be leaving them less often, I'm assuming, right? Because women cite the same reasons over and over for why they end the marriages, even though I would argue to women, like, there should probably be more.
Women end relationships a lot of times because they have this concept that they should always be happy. And that overrides.
I want to, this is why I love my own platform. Women are wonderful effect. This is why I like my own platform, because I want to push the idea, right? This idea we constantly think, right? We constantly think the main reason, right? The main number one reason, right? For the divorce rate is infidelity and finances. That is not true. Now, that is the big reason, right? Those are some of the big reasonings, right? The main reason, right? Because people write it down, right? And your divorce paper, you write down why you're divorcing, right? What's the reasoning? A lot of it is irrevocable differences, okay? It's very vague, right? It's very vague, irrevocable differences. You can put whatever you want under that umbrella. But you could write cheating, infidelity, whatever, different views of you could write why. But you do a study, right? I mean, you ask people reasonings under why, right? Irrevocable differences. It's usually a lot of women are unhappy. They're just unhappy with the relationship. Not because the man is not that good, right? Not because he's a shitty husband, not because he's a shitty father. Women are just unhappy, right? Women are just unhappy in that marriage. Not because he cheated on her, not because he made less than her. It's because women are unhappy. That is the main reason. Women are unhappy in marriages. There's a study that has been a while back that was done where women tend to get bored in long-term relationships much quicker than men. Women, on average, get bored quicker in long-term relationships more than men. So, I've said this before. If a woman is bored, that is the most dangerous emotion a woman can have. Because if she is bored, she will fuck up your life. She will divorce you, leave you, cheat on you, right? If a woman is bored, she will fuck up her life. And men would do it too, right? If men are bored, yes. But guess what? Women, on average, get bored quicker, more often than men. Men, on average, can be more habitual than women, right? Men can be content. Not saying happiness, but men can be more content with habitual actions, right? Wake up, go to work, come home, kiss your wife, play with your kids, eat something, watch sports, go to sleep, wake up, go to work. Men can do the same shit over and over again and be fine, be content with that for years on end. Women cannot. Women will get bored quicker doing habitual shit.
Duty to the family. So that's another reason too why women end marriages and relationships, because we tell women that their happiness overrides everything, and they'll be like, oh, you know what, I could do better. Like, women have this perpetual, the grass is greener on the other side. I could do better.
It's usually I could do better without.
Well,
It's usually why they're leaving men.
that's
They don't
better.
say I can find a new man who's better. They say I'd
Right.
rather be single.
What women have a magnitude of reason. Yes, I can do better without, or I can find better. But it's always I could be better, right? I could do better regardless. So really, not much of a different argument.
Than
Yep.
fucking put up
I
with shit.
wanna- I
That's
wanna
usually
throw
why
out-
women leave men.
But
Yeah.
also, balance and probability, they can't, right? Women actually do worse, right? After divorce. Women actually do worse after a divorce.
I have a stupid, uninformed hypothesis where I think women will average at a slight state of discontent relative to men. And the reason why I think that might be is that imagine there's two tribal, plains, savannah-dwelling humans, two tribes. And in one, the woman is always content with what is. So the guy comes back and says, hey, I caught us some fish. We have food for the day. And she goes, that's perfect. The other woman in the other tribe is, no matter what happens, she's always a little unhappy and demanding more of the man. So he says, I brought enough fish for food. And she goes, why am I only getting 2 fish? This is bullshit. I want 3 fish. And he goes, okay, I'll go get you more fish. Geez, calm down. One day, there's a famine. The woman who was always complaining has more and survives, and the woman who was content does not. It's not to dig on women. I'm saying that women are demanding of their men because they want to survive.
Yes, exactly. The husband store and the wife store. The best analogy ever, in my opinion. One of the best analogies ever, okay?
And so
Yes.
they constantly expect more from men.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to, like I've said this, women get mad at me when I say this, but like women are literally designed to extract value from men. Like that is what they're designed to do. We're
you're
designed
saying-
to provide value. Their value is that what they do is extract value. This is why,
But
like,
you don't got to say it in such like a dick way. You know what I mean?
yeah, but it's the
Amber,
truth.
what do you have to
It's
say,
the truth.
Amber?
This is why women,
Well, you're
like,
asking
this
her
is
to
why we
commit
don't
18
care.
years of her life and to carry a body that is destructive to our body. Being able to bear a child is like
We understand. we
annihilates
understand.
our body.
But
Well, when
the
you're
point
saying
I'm
where
trying
women,
to make is that women are literally designed to extract value from men.
But you're
This is why
narrativizing it
when
in a way that I think is
This is
unfair.
why when a woman makes more money than her man, she starts to think like, what the hell's going on here? Like, women are not designed to provide long-term
but
provisioning to a man.
that's
They're just
only
not designed.
true. That's only true that when women earn more than their male partners, that it's a problem for the relationship. If the male has a very traditional view of masculinity.
Exactly. Jay's right. The nature of women is selfish. The nature of men is selfless. Men will give their life for the ones they love. Even they will give their life for society. Women, no.
And she does too. The moment that you remove a traditional view of masculinity, where, for example, the woman goes like, I'm the breadwinner, and that's totally fine with me, suddenly the relationship's completely balanced out. The data is just robust in this.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah, it is. And also
Women don't do well when they're
One
in
last
leadership
thing, Amber, then we're
roles.
going to
Yeah,
bring somebody
I
else
just
up.
wanted to ask.
It is also in my experience. I would say not every man could be with me. I think a lot of men have being with me
that's
felt
pretty obvious.
emasculated. That's cute. Have felt emasculated by me. You could never handle me, Myron. That's obvious.
wouldn't want
That's
to.
obvious. Oh,
Thank God.
and I would never either. I would
Thank
never
God.
either.
I swear to God. I swear to God. Any woman, right, have the ideology that I need a man to handle me, I swear she can only attract fucking like the men that have the least self-respect ever. In my honest opinion, I'm not saying her particularly, right? I don't go specific, but in general, women that need men to handle her are fucking miserable women. They're miserable women to be with. I swear to God.
But my
sound like a
man is
dude.
very,
At least
very
she's not a black
masculine
guy, so
and
that's
very,
good.
very, very strong and able to be with.
Let's try and get Amber in.
All right.
Again, this
Broad
is
question
what
for
he
the
does.
group.
Sorry, okay, calm down.
I want to
I'm
get
not gay and she acts like a
everyone's
guy.
opinion on this.
I had pushed a baby out of my vagina. That's about as feminine as you can get.
Well, men can't have babies.
But you talk
Amber,
like a guy.
Amber.
You have a deep voice.
All right.
Come
So
on, Amber.
I want to focus this one on third wave feminism specifically and what I think the underlying issue is, because I'm not Myron. I'm not arguing for women to not get the right to vote, etc. But if we look at third wave feminism, I think one of the distinct problems with it is that it's not that women shouldn't be considered equal to men. It's that third wave feminism pushed the message that men and women were the same.
Yeah, I hate third wave feminism. I mean, I'm a feminist, but I'm not pro third wave feminism.
Well, we agree. All right, Amber, thank you so much.
Wonderful, thank
Thank you,
you.
guys. Give it up for Amber Duke. All right, our next thing is Joe Cowman here. Joe Cowman. Joe, you here? Yeah,
Yep.
Joe, come on down to the right
These
side.
guys
of
are
the
all
stage.
centrally located tonight. I love it.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. What do you got for us?
Kind of retarded, but
She admits it.
good way
Great,
to
good
off.
start.
So I have a two-part question for the feminists. Do you think that a time 200 years ago, the way that feminism and females' roles in society, do you think that that was oppressive? Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, before women had rights, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was robbing of their agency.
Did
in
they
some ways.
have a particular role in the society
Yeah,
that
typically.
would not be able to exist back then?
I feel like I'm not understanding
sorry,
the question.
Yeah, I have no
today.
idea. What the hell are you talking
I don't
about?
really
Let's
get
do
it.
it.
I feel like you're
Give me
begging
the-
the question. Do you want to just make your point and then ask a
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
what do you think
So
about this?
we have a lot of consumerism and technologies nowadays that I think enable feminism. Do you think that a time when they didn't have paper towels or a washer machine or all of these other things that women used to do, were they oppressed in that role, taking care of a house?
I like this question.
Yeah, I think
I do like this question.
I think essentially that when you like take away people's like political rights, you are robbing them of agency, which I think is inherently oppressive. I think stealing people's ability to make choices is bad. And most importantly, you can see this, for example, when you look at Spartan women versus Athenian women. Spartan women were actually like expected to manage the household because Spartans thought it was gay for men to like touch money, basically, which is funny. But Spartan women, as a result, were able to negotiate a lot more things like better wages, better like marital care, better maternity leave. Whereas Athenian women were basically like rejected from society, and as a result, they were like entirely powerless. So yes, not having any political power or agency diminishes your ability and does create.
Well, let
a
me
system of
ask you to the
oppression.
point of the technology of it.
Sure.
Women of the 1800s, were they oppressed?
Broadly, the poor ones especially, yes. The like rich ones, yes. To a
Was it
lesser degree.
oppressive that they were expected to be doing womanly things, cleaning laundry?
No, it was the robbing of the rights.
Wait, but-
it was
can't
that
we
they had
all-
no other choice to do anything else.
Can't we all agree that even since the beginning of time, women have had gender roles, different gender roles than men, though? I mean,
Yeah.
is that
Men and women are not
No,
the
I'm saying
same.
I agree
Yeah.
with you. So that's from
So
the beginning of time. We've known
This,
that.
the
The difference
point, which
is
is
men could choose cobbler or these sorts of things. Women were only allowed to have babies
right,
and
right.
home make the
But
house.
the
And
reason,
that was basically
the
it.
reason why I think this is a good point actually is that firearms have greatly equalized power between men and women in a lot of ways. So if you were
Guns
a
are
woman in the 1800s, you weren't going to be a sheriff. right?
Yeah.
Because I think it was until like the late 18. They didn't have cartridges until the late 1800s. So if you're late 1700s, it was not oppression. They said a woman can't be in this role. It was the physical impossibility of it.
It was both, right?
But the other thing too is
they would even say she like invented something. There was some superpower woman who could theoretically maintain the same.
But
No, I mean, this is a thing where I agree. A lot of when I listen to like Kendra G, I feel like I'm losing brain cells. So there was a period of time where I just don't listen to. I stopped reacting to Kendra G for a little bit just to give my brain a break. Here's my thing where yes, listening to a lot of women's takes can really be painful to listen to, right? It can be painful to listen to. Almost 2 hours. I mean, like, I get it, right? It can be painful to listen to. But here's the thing where I go about this, where I want to do things where I don't. You see Myron, right? I hate that he is the image, right? He's the image of Red Pill. He's the image of Red Pill. Although I don't believe he's like the god of Red Pill or anything. It's that, you know what? I don't want to make the extreme cases, right? I'm willing to listen to women. Now, I wouldn't listen to women in person because honestly, I can't fast forward through it, right? I can't fast forward through it because I have to sometimes skip and shit like that. So, I'm willing to listen because, to be honest, only being in an echo chamber is not healthy for nobody, right? Only being in an echo chamber is not healthy for nobody. DA, did you know that women have been voting in local elections since? No, I didn't know that. Some women were voting since before most men could? Really? God damn. This whole women oppressed narrative is such BS. That is interesting. That is interesting. I love that. This is what I'm saying, right? The people who watch my content, the people who are in the chat, people who's like, I think this is why I don't mind being a small time creator, right? I don't ever think I will get to crazy numbers, right? Subscribers, view counts, whatever, because my content is more selective, right? It's more pure, right? I think the men that watch my shit, even some of the women, are top level intelligent, top good men. This is why I'm saying, like, even though I'm small, right? The amount of men that listen, those are the top quality men.
He wasn't allowed to.
But the issue is, you're not likely to see a woman, manually tilling fields with pickaxes.
That's not true. Actually, women were regularly doing farm labor. In fact, that was one of the main domicile areas.
Specifically tilling the fields.
Yes, they would.
Men were pulling these things before beasts of burden.
So were women. I don't know what to tell you there. This was just shared by the household.
You're making the argument that women were doing physical feats men were disproportionately doing those physical feats. But
No,
now
I'm
it's
making an
not a big deal
argument
to
that
have a
men
female
had
tractor
agency.
driver.
Well, no, I said men had agency and women didn't. Right. My issue isn't that women had traditional gender roles. My issue is that
God, this is the problem why women can't understand certain concepts. Yes. Are there women that do shit? Yes. The problem is you don't understand percentages. There are more men that do shit, right? So let's say farmers. Yes. Are women farming? Fuck yes. There are more men that do it. No one is arguing that, oh my God, no single woman has ever done something. No. Please, I swear to God, this is the problem with listening to some women, where how they talk discredit any logical argument, because women want to make things specific. Yes, there's a woman, right? There's a woman out there that has done this. Yeah, no fucking duh. The problem is men talk in generality, because honestly, if you go specific, you can never, there's no good outcome or never ending conversation. Yes, there is a woman out there that done something. We talk by generality because it's a better way to argue. It's a better way to get an idea across.
women had no choice to be
heavy
anything
things and
else.
chopped lumber was not because they oppressed women.
I don't have a problem with that. I have an issue if women can't choose to do things like teaching or own
Men
real
did not
estate.
invent pickle jars to oppress women. They're just hard to open.
I don't know why you're running away from this argument.
Because now they have automatic pickle jar openers. You don't need men anymore.
There's nothing masculine about owning property, right? There's just nothing inherent.
That's
There's
what I'm
nothing. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
The point
So
he
engage with
made
me.
was with technological advancements allowing for women to not have to do these jobs is a depression when they did. And I think it's an interesting point that men chop lumber because they have big upper bodies and heavy arms.
I never
and
said I
easy
want
swing
women
axe.
in the 1800s to
But
chop
now
lumber.
that we have automatic lumber splitters, it's not a big deal to have women doing that job. They weren't oppressing women by saying, no, we're going to have a guy chop lumber.
I'll just say my opinion again because I don't think you're engaging with it. I'm not saying that women were oppressed in the 1800s because they weren't lumberjacks. I'm saying women were oppressed because they didn't have the option to be anything but homemakers and own private property. That's why they were oppressed.
I think she makes a good point. Okay, all right, go sit down, Joe. I don't think that was that great. Jory Brooks. Jory Brooks. Is Jory Brooks here? Come on down. Am I saying that right? Jory?
He's coming.
Come on, Jory. You know, we have a limited time limit here.
Over here, brother.
Time limit.
Make the show
We're
run
almost
4 hours
gonna-
next time.
Yeah, we do need a 4-hour show, actually. But what do you got for us?
All right, I got a simple question for Myron. Do you think these things should be legally enforced or just culturally pushed?
Like putting women back in the kitchen?
Yeah, stuff like that. Women as
repealing the
second-class
19th.
citizens, basically.
Or repealing the 19th Amendment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we do it, because here's the thing, women are followers, right? They're not really leaders. So if we culturally shame them being sluts or voting or any of that other stuff and say like, hey, you need to get back in the kitchen, education isn't great for you, I think they'd follow that. We don't need to force them to do it because women are followers.
So why do you want to repeal
Good
the
luck.
19th?
Yeah.
What was that?
Why do you want to repeal the 19th if you think social shame is effective enough?
Well, again, that in that regard, we really got to make sure you guys can't vote. But yeah, other than that,
Why?
everything else can be
That's the
cultural.
question. That's the question. Why?
Yeah. So no, when it comes to voting, we just don't let them in. They're like, oh, I'm here to vote, LOL, and then tell them to go home.
Real quick,
you know what I mean?
question.
It's just simple. Like, you put them in law enforcement. You effectively weaken the entire force for what? Their feelings, so they can feel equal. Get the fuck
You're
out
only
of
as strong as your weakest link. And there was just a female Houston cop that went and pulled a gun on a guy because the guy had cheated on her sister.
Oh, yeah.
Women do crimes and that's bad. The issue
I
is
know, but
that
I
I'm
don't
not
want
saying.
a female cop, you know.
Again, I'm
You're
not saying
you're more
women
likely
should
to
be
get shot by a
cops.
female cop than a male cop. Way
Okay,
faster.
okay. Hey,
disengage
Jessica
with the
Schaefer
idea.
here. Jessica, I don't know how your handwriting shit. Jess, come on down, Jess.
There you go. That's easier.
What do you got, Myron?
No, I was just gonna say like I don't while she waits.
But his answer
I don't
is
thi-
he
I don't
doesn't
think
just want to
women should
socially
be in
shame.
these
He wants to
positions.
steal rights.
Anyone that's in the military or a police officer will tell you having female backup sucks.
Then make
But
sure that
to
the
be fair,
standards
guys,
are equal.
to be
Just make
fair,
sure the standards are equal.
I do want to point out the inherent sexism of the show. I did ask Myron to sit there because I said he could beat the shit out of anybody who fucked with him from the audience.
I love you all.
All right, Jess, what do you got for us?
All right. I think you ladies have an idealized view of feminism, and I do believe it will bring down Western society.
All right.
Come on
Come
down.
on, Talia. That was great.
Back in the kitchen. Let's go.
Come on, hurry this way.
Now you're letting her out of the kitchen, Myron?
Wow. Let's
Yeah, he
go.
only likes women that agree with him. Imagine that.
Kitchen-
They can have rights. They can have rights, actually.
Jess,
Right, just right now.
What do you got for us, Jess?
Right for now.
All right, let me pull my notes back up.
Speaking of love my baby, I know.
Let's go.
Hey, I love. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna.
No, my question was actually for Myron.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so have you considered that you may be surrounding yourself with low-quality women that are skewing your perception of dating? And how would you address the fact that other men buying into this narrow viewpoint of relationships tend to become unhappy and single?
Okay, so I like that you asked that because a lot of people say that all the time. Myron, you're in Miami, you're around a bunch of bimbos, blah blah blah. So the reality is,
Shut
up. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I brought girls on. We actually keep data. We bring girls on that have PhDs, master's degrees, educated with bachelor's degrees, all different types of job fields. And you know, I've still noticed some like very interesting similarities despite education level, cultural background, etc. With the women. So my thing is, unfortunately, almost all women, well, damn near 99% of women are all very hypergamous. And what I tell guys is the reason why they need to rise up and make more money and get in the gym and just be the best they can be is because women's standards have went up. And since women's standards have went up, most guys don't qualify. And I think for any guy to be in a relationship where they can like make it last and have their girl be somewhat satisfied, is they have to be the best version of herself because women are pickier now than ever before thanks to feminism. So, and not only that, but like women are encouraged to get the best they can. So my thing isn't necessarily that I'm around lower quality women, what you would say. It's just that I'm around a lot of different types of women from different walks of life. And I would argue the hotter the girl, the more hypergamous they're going to be because they can be.
I would argue, though, you may be personally trying to find an eclectic bunch, but you're not going to church, right? Are you going to
course not.
churches that have these debates?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. We bring a lot of girls that are religious too on the podcast.
And you find they're all the same?
No, he does bring a
Three
lot.
or four churchgoers?
We brought girls in that are religious too. I mean, religious girls are going to want, they're going to want a guy that's more traditional. So like the point is this, the guy needs to be a complete package is my argument nowadays. Like you can't be an average guy nowadays and still be able to, you know, get a girl or
That's
get
a good
one to
thing.
truly submit to you. What was that?
That's evolution.
Of course it is. But what I'm saying now is that like average women no longer.
Is that a good thing, right? That average women don't want average men. Yes, I mean, no, I'm not saying that's a good thing, right? Is that evolution or is that survival of the fittest? That is survival of the fittest. The problem is average women aren't getting nobody, right? Average women want top tier men. Guess what? Top tier men don't want average women. Fuck them, yeah. Not to be with them. So this is the problem where is it a good thing? It is not. It is not. Because if we have a society full of, let's say, average men that are seeing that there are plenty of average women that wouldn't want to date them. I only want top tier men. Can't get top tier men, so they don't want nobody. They'd rather be single and childless, which is, I support women being single and childless for the rest of their life, but it is not a good thing for society. It is not a good thing for society. Because one, society is dying off, low birth rates, or we have more and more unsettled men, more and more unstable men, because they will be angry with the world. Like I said, men occupy the extreme ends of any and all spectrums. Yes. There are more men that, you know what? Fuck it. MGTOW all the way. More men, fuck it. Black pill all the way. Right? I hate everyone. I hate women. I hate men. So really, that is not a good thing. Right? It's not a good thing.
Longer want average men.
Historically, 40% of men reproduced.
Of course.
And now it's 83.
83% of men now.
Not
no. 83% don't reproduce.
Well, no. I'm sorry. As of the younger generation, sure. But historically, throughout thousands and thousands of years,
of course,
the number was around 40.
Yeah.
Modern history, it's around 80. Of course, I understand Gen Z is.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too. We had guardrails, right? Before, like, you had the church, you had a social shame, you had stigmas with women behaving and acting in a way to, effectuate their hypergamy. But these guardrails are gone now. So, like, women can literally do whatever they want.
Well,
when you
part
leave
of the
them to
reason
their own
why
devices, they're going to pick the best guy.
Part of the reason why historically men weren't spreading their seed is they were dying in the mines and they were dying in war because the way that society dealt with what we call like the young male syndrome, which is a real issue of young men that don't have mates, because typically young men don't actually get mates because you guys are immature and have to grow up a little bit. This has always been historically true. This is absolutely true. This is what wars fed, because a major issue in all nation states when they were beginning, you can go back to like the 700s, is the question of the young male issue. Young men are more violent, more aggressive, and stupid. And you guys often have to get shipped off to bad places. Now, I love the Western civilization where we don't do that to young men, because I think that's fucked up.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
Well,
We don't
China,
send
they
men.
abort
We're not
women,
killing off
so-
men in the numbers that were regulated in history. And I think that that's good.
Okay, sure. But we still have drafts and we still have war.
Sure, but the issue
And it's
is when
still
you talk
largely
about.
at the more affluent level tends to be feminist childless.
I would actually argue most like third wave feminism underserved most women as well. In fact, it only benefited women like myself or maybe Kat,
Yeah,
who are like
feminism's
more
bad.
All right,
no,
Utsov,
just
what do you got for us?
nuanced.
I hate Myron. It's me, your favorite. We debated in the next while back.
What was that?
He's your favorite.
Yeah, favorite.
Okay.
Damn right.
What's up, man?
Yo, brother. God bless you. Assalamu alaikum. So, I know you're Islamist, allegedly. My question is very straightforward. In the age of AI, does it really matter if it's, a male versus female debate? Because we're all going to get replaced anyway. Wall Street. But how much has Uncle Sam put into OpenAI?
Sam Allen came out and
That's what I
said
wanna
that's
know.
absolutely
Probably
not
a
true.
lot.
This is what ChatGPT 5 is actually. What you have is it's a cheaper version of ChatGPT 4.0.
I'm going to disprove your argument because I ordered Chipotle and they got the order wrong. And DoorDash doesn't have. What was that?
Yeah, come on, keep going.
What I'm trying
You thought
to
this
say
one through.
is that
Yeah.
to all your points, like to every single one of those points.
It all comes down to Jesus, right? Is that what you're saying?
Wait, were you the guy that was shouting the most? Who said you were going to come up? Oh, that was somebody over here. Okay.
What I'm saying is that your foundation that you stand on is where you're going to line up with the way you conduct yourself in the world.
That's not true. 'cause
That's true. We've got all these atheists and one Christian. Okay, I'm the only one who's based and believes in Jesus. All of you,
I believe in
sinners.
Jesus,
Doesn't the
but-
Bible say that women should be silent and obey their husbands?
Go into the draft. What exactly would you want them to do? Like, would you want them to be a nurse, a mechanic, or would you want them to be on the front lines in like combat roles?
I feel like you think that this is a crazy feminist gotcha. My answer is pretty nuanced. I want aptitude tests, and I want them to be in the spots that they would best serve the military.
Yeah, T-Bone, that's not a good gotcha. Go sit down, dude. That's not.
Nice try, though.
Barry, because
I really had higher.
The issue is that it's still America that they have to negotiate with, and they're going to care.
No,
Like,
not just here. But I'm talking about other countries. There are many countries. There's 207 countries in the world, and a few
yeah.
of them are ran by women. But do you think the men in these Muslim countries are going to respect these women as leaders?
So again,
No, they're
well, now
not.
we have to be. Wait,
It's clearly not.
Okay, so you just want to say no. Okay, well, if you want to have
Well,
your
those
own
countries are
conversation
bad.
on a mic, go for it.
Barry, I would call you up, but you're Jewish, and I don't want Myron to kill you. So.
The only way for a guy to get a tombstone was to die. And
And
the only way a woman could get a tombstone was to die in childbirth.
Yeah.
Otherwise, fuck you.
All great jokes.
All right, well, this isn't Sparta. Go sit down. All right, all right, Edgar the puppet, come on down. Edgar, hurry, get your ass up here. We love it.
Was you were going to with the problem you were having?
It was
Oh my
both men
God.
and women who told me to go fuck myself.
Okay, so no one
Yeah.
helped you.
I feel like
No,
men
but
are
they-
better men.
Oh my God. Okay. Why did I say oh my God, right? Why did I say oh my God to this woman? Oh my God. Let's play that a little bit again.
What do you got for us?
Well, first of all, I'm sitting next to Myron, so I want to say the world is healing. I have a question for you, Tim. I wanted to know if a woman was working like you were dealing with at the casino last night, if your issue would have been resolved.
If a woman was working?
Yeah, like
What do you mean?
that you were going to with the problem you were having?
It
with
was
your
both
women?
men and women who told me to go fuck myself.
Okay, so no one
Yeah.
helped you.
I feel like
No, they-
men
but
are
they-
better managers than women. Like like a casino or something. Like casino employees are usually better as men, to be honest.
Why?
I don't know, because it's money, it's more masculine.
No,
there are female gamblers. but like most pit
I
bosses
think
are men.
they sucked equally in different ways. And this is actually more of a robot question, because I'm not going to get into full details of what happened, but basically a robot stole money from me. And it was, and everybody looked, bro, it was a room full of managers with their thumbs up their asses being like, there's nothing we can do because the robot said so. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So both men and women equally had their thumbs up their asses.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
curious. I also wanted to push back on something that Myron said about.
Please, because let's talk about something interesting, not Tim's gambling addiction. Let's talk about.
Yeah, hey.
Come on, sorry, Tim.
Just about women not knowing what they want. I wanted to push back on that and say I do know what I want, and it's not that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't want to hear that I'm stupid and weak and things like. I'm having a hard time understanding how you're so good at empathy when
Yeah, women don't tend to like the truth, which is fine. No big deal. I'll just continue to be toxically masculine, and women love that. So.
Well, I got a question. Like, real quick.
Yeah, actually, women love guys that can tell them that they're dumb and
Well,
to
hold
shut
on.
up and to be assertive.
But here's an honest question.
Yeah.
What % of women actually prefer to be submissive and dominated by men who are aggressive with them? That's an honest question.
I mean, it's not me. I don't know the statistics on that. I don't know.
Women are more subby-wubby than they are, but the issue is like being a sub is not the same thing as being like abused and berated.
I don't know.
These are not the same thing.
Bernie Sanders wrote about that, how women like to go home and fantasize about being raped.
They do, right? Like, and in the same way that like men like to fantasize about like fucking like magical like troll girls. Like, yes, we all fantasize about weird, stupid shit, right? The issue is that like, in the case of like my marriage, okay, yeah, my husband is my leader and I respect him. But part of why I feel that way towards Nick is because he respects me, he cares about me. When we disagree and it comes to like who's gonna be right, I know that like 9 times out of 10 he like has my best interest in mind. It's not just because he's like this male superior. And I feel like a lot of these men be like, yeah, men do need to
No,
toughen
he is
up.
superior.
But then you're
because
also like,
you're deferring to his authority. See, women don't want to acknowledge the fact that
You can
they
ask
want a
him.
guy that can tell them what to do and can make the decision. Women want to sit there and be like, oh, well, we're equal. But in reality, when push comes to shove, they want to be able to
well,
follow
the
your
issue,
lead. That's why I
Myron,
don't
is
listen
that
to women and what
I'm
they
able
gotta
to
say.
look at
They
the
don't know what
world
they're talking about.
and recognize that
don't.
some people are good at some things and other people are good at other things, and both of these people have
Women
moral
suck
value.
at everything that matters.
That's not
They
true.
suck at
Have a
everything that
fucking
matters.
baby.
They-
Good luck.
That's the only thing you can do, and you still need a man for that.
Oh, it's
I'm
almost
gonna-
like raising a child is the most important thing for society. Haven't we been talking about declining birth rates and how important child rearing is? And now all of a sudden it's be like, oh, all they are
Yeah,
good
but
for
you
is a
need a man
womb.
for that.
Then
Like,
buy a
and
womb.
anything where both men and women can compete and both of them can actually do it, men are better.
I would argue this, like
not
for my
true.
marriage, it's I'm basically in charge of externalities, he's in charge of internality, like internal issues. So when it comes to what she needs for the baby, what she needs for the house, where we're going on vacation, who we're seeing for holidays, I just say, you know what, I have no idea. That's up to you. But when it comes to calling lawyers, dealing with bullshit, getting shit done, I'm gonna go and fight. I put it like this: I'm gonna fight the grizzly bear if it shows up with my bare hands,
Yeah.
and then die. You save the baby.
Yeah, you delegate authorities, but that's a part of being a man and being a leader. That's why, like, when a woman's in a leadership role, it's a problem for the relationship. It's probably not going to last. Women want a guy who's going to be assertive, dominant, taller, stronger, everything. They try to sit there and say, I'm equal to you, but they're really not. They're inferior, and they want to feel
I
inferior.
disagree though. Like, I've been in a lot of relationships where we handle the conflicts.
Okay,
Like,
where are those guys now?
Well, that's a problem with
Hold on,
them.
hold on,
That's a
hold
problem
on.
with them, not
The
a problem
real,
with
Even in a
me.
lot of relationships.
the real,
Okay,
no,
what
the
are
real,
the bigs at now?
the nuanced answer. The real answer is that probably 80% of people do prefer a gender traditional relationship, and that's totally fine. I have no issue with people wanting gender traditional relationships. The problem with your worldview is there's no space for anything else, and the reality is that non-gender traditional relationships just do exist and can flourish.
No, because I understand that women can't make
Like
their own decisions, so
polycules.
I have to do it for them. So you'll sit there and say, oh, 80% is actually higher than that, because the reality
It's
is
not.
women are attracted to men that are better than them. That's how it is.
Now you have to fight with all of science and data.
My
You're
bad,
just
for
wrong.
you guys, how you want to be treated, which is inferior.
How
That's
come?
what it is.
How come whenever there's a polycule, the woman's always like fat, and the guys are all weird looking?
Okay, why I can't find it. Why I wanted to say that? Oh my God, with this woman's persona, right, online. I've seen this woman before. Her persona online is pretty much she's like 42, right, in her 40s, child free, no relationship. All she does is go to clubs and parties and dance around, like celebrating her being child free. That is her persona online. That is why I said, oh my God, I couldn't imagine that this woman, to see this woman, in this show on this panel. So her argument again is well, exception exists. Exactly, that is true.
I've seen a lot of polycules that are like one man, 2 women, and everyone's kind of hot. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know, the ones we see online, it's always like some big fat chick with 3 fat guys.
Yeah, it turns out not everything you see online is
I would
real.
also say that there's a huge
Internet is
difference.
true.
There's a huge difference between being assertive and being a leader and just calling women stupid and hoes over and over again. If anything, that's weak and it's really kind of boring.
Well, and this is, I'm not even trying to
Oh,
argue.
it's like
Myron
what-
saying
All I
what's her
heard was
face?
womp, womp, womp,
Who's that
womp,
chick
womp, womp,
with the YouTube channel where all she does say women
That's
suck?
boring too.
Yeah, but Kat, you
Pearl,
know,
that's right.
there is something
Shout out.
kind of like inherently, even from a young age, when guys would bully girls, it meant they liked them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
So you're saying Myron likes me?
yeah.
Well, you started with me
Honestly,
first, so I think it's the other way around.
I know that sounds weird. It sounds
She's gonna attack me
counterproductive, but that's
first.
Now, Here's the thing with I understand Myron why he's the face of Red Pill, because he is more controversial, or he does things in a way that brings out women's anger, right? People's anger. So we gotta understand how social media works, right? Being controversial or getting people to be more emotional is a better way to, clickbait people or get people to be interested. So yeah. Anyway, you know what? I think that's it for tonight. It's a long live. I know you guys. I don't want to keep up you guys all night, right? But thank you guys, right? Thank you guys. I like to I always like listening to these things because it's it's just to hear other people's point of views, how to debate or how to dissect people's viewpoints or listen to viewpoints, seeing how people's thoughts and shit. So he's playing a character to make money. Yes, exactly. And this is why I can't do it, right? I don't know how to play a character, okay? In my real life, I'm pretty boring. I'm pretty vanilla, right? I don't in my real life, I'm not calling women, bitches and hoes and shit like that. So I can't, I'm not really that kind of person, because I've always thought it was cringe, right? The whole Disney channel thing where people overact. I can't do it, right? I can't really do it. So that's why I can't really, be a character or anything. But yes, thank you guys. Thank you guys for the love, support, for coming on, checking my live, right? Evil Eddie, my brother, thank you. Thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you for being in the chat. Jay, love you, my brother. All right. Thank you guys. Big Bars was here. Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Anyone else? I think Bay was here. Dizzy. Jermari. Right? Thank you guys. Thank you, all of you guys, right? For stopping by, for checking out my live, for supporting, right? Please check out my other videos. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please like my other videos. It definitely helps out, right? So you guys are amazing, right? Thank you, brothers. Thank you for the love and support, right? Later, guys.